Howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Oberon, Courts of Everest. I am your DM this evening, Joe, and joining me are my friends Matt, Tina, Kara, and Alana. Hannah cannot be with us tonight, unfortunately. We miss you, Hannah, but hopefully will be rejoining us next week. A couple of announcements before we get into some D&D. Last night we played Mosaic Team 5, Session 46. There was some stuff that happened. Definitely check it out when it re-airs on YouTube at noon, followed by the re-airing of this session. On YouTube, we are at AlbronRPG. We're also that on Instagram, Twitter, AlbronRPG.com, all the places that you can find more information about us. And then I think that's most of the announcements that we have this week. Wow, it's light. For music, like this jaunty music and some other stuff, you can listen to Sirenscape. It's a digital tool set where you can have things like the Wilhelm scream or something that is just... What else do I have? I have a huzzah. So for that and more, you can add sound into your games with Sirenscape. And with that, I can get into our recap again. I forgot our sound. But it's okay, because I have this great theme from Campaign 1. Listen to it.
Can you like make a post-it note and just like stick it to all your stuff?
Everybody could hear it in the menu. So, you know what?
Else can hear it in the menu.
You can go to YouTube at 4 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Albron RPG.
We'll get it. We'll get it someday. Adventurers.
Last we played, you caught your breath after fighting the Brine Cloaker, which had fled further into the temple's ruins. Ori, after you managed to avoid being grasped by strands of seaweed anchored to the stone, Minka was able to see Elvish, that read, touchscreen, gain seal. Intuiting, some of you, that this meant that perhaps there was more to be found in this constellation room, Billy, you returned and touched several of these constellations that were colored green. Lo and behold, a seal was found by all of you. You managed to obtain all 3 pieces through various means and place them into the floor, unlocking the inner sanctum of this temple. You swam within. This place strewn with kelpin bones and human skulls, and it seemed relatively silent with wreckage of wood floating atop the ceiling, although some of you, more observant than others, were able to see all the way across there was this Brine Cloaker wounded, lurking amongst the drifting wood. Ori, with a very, very smooth shot, you dispatched the beast once and for all. The second best shot of the night from you.
Second best. Oh.
You continued forward, searching through the kelp, and you were confronted by a hideous creature with pallid flesh and stars that seemed to burn with a horrible light out of its body, and the gaping hole that seemed to split its face in two. You fought with Ori, finally nailing the best shot of the campaign, almost killing Billy outright. But despite Ori turning on the party briefly, you managed to vanquish the creature, and as Sade clutched one of the stars and tore it from the creature, the light dulls, revealing intricate writing that seems to speak of the stars and almost a stellar map. And as the water kind of calms, that is where we begin this evening. Give me 1 second. Yes?
Can we get an update on the date and time?
Yes, you can.
It's the 9th of Summertide at a time.
It is 9th of Summertide, 1481 TA, 8 p.m., which is a Sunday. It is roughly 50 degrees down here in the water. Not terribly cold, but chillier than it was up top, if that matters. The humidity down here, about 100%.
Thank you.
Whoa.
All right, give me 1 second here.
Are we talking relative humidity? Because then we gotta start talking about super saturation, liquids.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay.
Intelligence saving throw for brain hurt.
So for all of you, you are in this space, kelp that rises from floor to ceiling, making it hard to see too far. It is also near pitch black in this space. You have Alina, who is holding a small moon mote on a string. You have a little bit of light, I believe. Did you take a chalice form? No, right? Okay.
I couldn't because
So-
I chose to be an
Oh,
eel.
right. You were an eel.
I was an eel.
Minka was an eel. That was also
This
great.
eel.
That was really
You were a
good.
great eel.
I was
It's
somehow
like
more
the
effective
most-
as an eel than I am.
I wouldn't say more effective. You were the right eel for the job. But
Awesome.
very, very dark in this space. There is still movement, and very much like when you see a shark bite a fish in the water, in the aftermath of this battle, there is chum. And so, for those of you who breathe in and out here, you've gotten used to the thickness of the water going into your lungs and out. This is a little different. You have to like cough every time. It has the same sensation as when you accidentally get a little bit down the wrong pipe, but it's foul because you can taste this fishy yet oddly savory sensation.
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut in the chum water.
Yeah, but as you breathe in through your nose, you still can smell iron and a little bit of fish.
I think Ming is going to swim over to where Cheshire is.
Okay.
Mostly because, one, she's out of the area of the chum, and that seems far less uncomfortable over there.
Depends on who you ask.
I'm gonna
Are there shiny things?
Make a perception check.
catch
And or
my
things
breath.
that look useful?
Try to piece together what's going on here,
Awesome.
because it seems
15.
like
With a 15, you look around. It is dark down here. You do have the ability to see a little bit better than some people. And with the light cast from Alina's balloon, you can see through the kelp there is an area a little bit further on, like really rusted bronze statues. You can see like some elements of like maybe religious iconography behind, and that's a little shiny. With a 15, there is a moment where you see this light. And at first, maybe blue, maybe green, in the shifting water, hard to tell, especially with this moon mode. Everything is a little blue. And as you get a little bit closer, vanishes. But you step a little bit closer. And let's see here.
Dancing lights.
All over the place, these dancing lights go out. And you do see there are here in the sand now with these lights much brighter than this little moon mote, several glints amongst the sand, some of which much brighter than gold or silver. You also see amongst the seaweed here and there are entire skeletons, missing the head, but just bodies, and these seem to have the seaweed encrusted vestments of Saloon. You can see like the same kind of eye surrounded by stars. With a 15, that is what you find.
What are the shiny things if I go to pick one up?
So you bend down, and as you like put your hand through the sand falls through, and in your hand you hold a platinum piece. And you begin to like dig around, and with a 15, you find 3 platinum pieces, you find 13 pieces of gold, and you find 30 pieces of copper. Everybody's favorite.
Nice. I think at this point Minka's gonna see if there are any like pieces of jewelry that have the emblem of Saloon on them.
Okay.
Either like an amulet or like some sort of like adornment.
Are you looking like in general around or at this creature?
I think she would probably be following Cheshire and look there first, and then if she doesn't find it there, she'd be like looking around a little
Make
bit
an
more
investigation check.
until she got too disgusted and couldn't do it anymore.
Fair
Billy
enough.
would be looking up.
I would
Make
yeah,
for what purpose?
Just to so I think Billy would be looking at the corpse to figure out what the fuck was going on first. And secondarily to see if there's anything else valuable aside from the glass orb that's
So make an investigation check, and then as you do that, think about like what area of knowledge Billy is drawing on to try to find more out about this. That will inform what skill you use.
17.
17. With a 17, you follow Cheshire, and Cheshire looks down, and it's almost like one motion. It's like dancing lights, and at first it looks like Cheshire's bowing and then begins to pick things up from the sand, and so a little bit distracted. With a 17, there is another glint, and at first you think it might be some emblem of Saloon because you're in a temple, but as you go over, there is almost like a really rusted steel altar. And at one point, probably this is where like somebody would drape a nice cloth and there would be like, you know, a religious ceremony here. But now you can see like sand is piled on, debris is slowly sunk down, but poking out of it, you can see what looks like the tip of a crescent moon. And as you draw just a little bit closer to it, it glows a little bit. And as the pieces of debris shift away and the currents wash away, Cheshire, 15, just a little bit too low, but you see this weapon, a handle that is wrapped in some kind of a black cord, but the blade of it is like a crescent moon. It's a sickle, and there is an element to it, like in the dark here as it glows, you imagine is probably magic.
Oh, I'll take that. I think it just kind of like picks it up and just like takes off one of her random floaty bits of cloth and kind of wraps it around it so she doesn't like accidentally poke anyone with it.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Billy rolled a 16 on investigation, and as far as realm of knowledge, the idea of like the kelp using this thing as a puppet kind of rings a little bit towards like enchantment and like ensorcelment and thinking of things like that.
I love the word ensorcelment, and please, that's great. Make an Arcana check. With a 16, you begin to look amongst the kelp, trying to find, what was that?
Natural 20.
Okay.
For a total of 22.
So you begin to look around, not just at this creature, but the various bits of just clues that could be around here. There are no real forms of life other than these urchins, but you do see that there are elements here up on the ceiling of like broken wood. And as you look around, you notice there is no real wood on the ground. Most of the structures that you've seen here, the benches, the altar, these statues, in fact, and you can see very distinct faces, each statue, everything is metal or stone. And so this would probably either like, storage crates and things like that, or as you begin to look up with that roll, you do see elements that are slightly curved, and they do speak a little bit more of being perhaps part of ships. You begin to think about that and looking around amongst this. It is unlikely that the kelp was using somebody as a puppet, but the kelp itself, even now, as this battle dies down, it feels different. And it feels almost as if the creature, whatever malevolent energy had turned it to whatever it was, seemed to have kind of infected the area around it. And so, not necessary that the kelp is evil. And actually, as you look around, all the sea urchins and everything that were very meaningfully moving towards the middle now just seem to be like moving around and like listlessly kind of like, you see little patterns in the sand everywhere. And the whole area does feel a little bit less malevolent. And then you like look in towards the hallway, you can see this like skin float by, and there are still unpleasant things. And that's probably what you would know.
Sade's like holding the glass orb thing, right?
Yeah.
So, care to tell us why you want that thing there?
She turns and she looks at you, and looking you up and down, you're like in pretty rough shape, right?
I'm not terrible, but I'm like pretty bloodied up.
We should return to the surface first. Then, perhaps. And she turns and kind of like gathering what's happening. People are like picking things up out of the sand and everything. She sighs and you can hear that, but she seems content to wait for whatever it is that you guys are going to finish doing before leaving. She has what she came for.
Minka's gonna go over to Cheshire and try and be as quiet as she can be. Like, Cheshire, do you think you could get that orb?
The one we came down here for?
Mm-hmm.
How is Sade holding it?
At the moment, like in her hands, and she's looking at it. Now that Alina has like moved a little bit further away, also like looking around for stuff, you don't see the writing all across it, these tiny, tiny little minutia of characters, but you still see the glint of the glass, and very much like it has her attention. This would be probably difficult to take away at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I can always get things, just maybe not right now. Why do you want it?
I mean, I thought I saw like an entire star map in it, and like I kind of really, really want to look at it closer, but I don't know if she'll let us look at it closer.
Why don't you just ask?
Well, I will first, but that was, you're
Okay.
good at stuff,
You whisper. Or what are you doing?
Kind of bleeding out.
Okay, no worries.
Wood.
You bleed out a little bit.
Hanging there. I'm wondering why, like, a lot of it I just overheard in this, so I'm ignoring that.
Okay.
But wondering, like, this high elf priestess, it seemed, what malevolent energy had, like, possessed this? Is there any, like, historical documentation of what could have been being sealed away in this temple? or
Make
anything
a
like
history, arcana, or nature check, your choice, and the check will determine the outcome.
that? Here we go. Histoire.
That's how it's pronounced.
Does this have to do with
Certainly. No, it does not have to do with the Feywild down here in the ocean thinking about this creature whose face was hewn in half. No.
well, or like history of Fey?
How else will you know if you don't ask?
13.
13. Okay. With a 13, and this is for which one?
History.
History. You've heard of individuals who are following certain beliefs being misled by creatures. In fact, in Mythelstream, it's kind of the basis for many of these civilizations that formed. A number of humans that went and in this mist-strewn, hellish place, this is the continent to the south, made pacts with some of the greater devils and eventually became what are known as tieflings today. And so, you've heard of this. This is something that does happen, and maybe that's what happened here. Hard to tell.
So, given that, is the implication that maybe this temple to Saloon wasn't actually for Saloon at all? Or they were praying to Saloon, worshipping Saloon, but actually giving power to some malevolent being?
Make an insight check.
That's better. 25.
25.
Ooh.
You begin to think about this. This is a place that was supposedly to this goddess of the moon. And for some reason, there was the sigil of Saloon does have stars, but this temple seems to have really taken a fascination and a particular interest to the stars. There is an entire, almost half of the temple that you have explored that is dedicated to just
Various
constellations.
Yeah.
So it does seem like at some point maybe there was a shift. There is no historical documents. There was a book, but unfortunately no longer really in a readable condition. And so Hannah. And so hard to tell exactly, but you do get the sense that there is some other force at work. And you can't help, now it feels different. There is a lighter feeling down here, even in the dark, even with no change to the kelp. There are still sea urchins and bones and that horrible skin that's now a little bit in your mouth. But there is a lighter feeling. And so whatever it is, probably no longer here.
This is just like the residual effects of its presence, but not its presence anymore since we killed it, kind of like the effects of its long lingering presence is going to take some time to disappear, but now it's no longer like.
With that roll, you can't tell whether that's what you want to believe or whether that's what really is. You just killed this thing, so it's hard to tell what the changes might be.
I'm just happy to not be dead.
Yeah.
Okay. as I'm pondering this, I'm just getting up and trying to lick my wounds because I'm pretty not good.
No problem. Is there anything else that you all want to do?
How hurt does Ori look?
Not great. Like,
Clocking in at about
On a scale of like 1
on
to
a scale
like
of
35?
1 to 25. I'm clocking in at about a 5.
You could have said a 5th.
Billy like
That's what I was gonna say.
Billy like kind
We
of
went all that.
swims over to Ori and
Like holding my guts in.
slowly begins to gather
I'm really
healing
sorry.
word
Really
in
sorry.
her hand.
I didn't mean to. We did it.
If you ever shoot me in the back again,
I don't intend to.
I will stab you
Didn't
in the
intend to.
guts.
It's okay.
And
I would
with
deserve
guts, cast healing word.
fantastic. Billy, like, really throws the fist forward. And so there's a moment where you feel like you're about to get stabbed. And
it.
then
Brings me down to
healing-
1 HP, and then it's like, blim, 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 blim.
Yeah, exactly.
I rolled a 1.
Oh, so it's more like.
So it's
Yeah.
it's 5 HP, but it's still
And Billy, though you try to cast healing where there isn't, you can't help but hold back a little bit of that healing energy. Because Ori did shoot you in the back.
Well, now I'm good enough to walk. So.
There you go. That's all you need.
I don't need him to be feeling better, just need him to be feeling slightly less worse.
I'm sorry.
How dangerous do you think is the trip back gonna be?
Hopefully not much danger.
Are you saying this just like out loud? Okay. So I think Sade is going to turn around at that and she's going to say, excuse me, whenever you are ready, it will be as dangerous as the way here. But the biggest threat is no more.
I was saying, are we done here? Can we go?
I mean,
My hair's getting wet.
I think Minka's gonna. I want to just look at the constellations one more time before we go, and then we can go.
Fine.
And then
I'll
Minka's
just
just.
find something to entertain myself.
She just looks directly at Ori.
This show here, I want just this.
So Minka, if you go back to that room, you can approach and you can see still glowing a little brighter now that they've been activated, these purple, blue, and green constellations mixed in amongst the various other bits of glass that shine from within with this light. What are you looking for?
Minka is gonna look into, see if she can see that thing inside of it to see if it's similar to the star map that Sinead just picked up and it's like projecting outward, or if it's just like a mundane magical light, which is a weird sentence to say, a mundane magical item.
Make a Arcana check, or actually, I would say make an investigation check. And this is really about trying to match things more than it is like you trying to understand it.
Yeah, I was about to say Arcana.
Yeah.
Oh, a 19.
So you look through. You bend down. You like peer in. You find one of the pieces of glass. It's like the smallest and gives you the biggest like viewing field. Within, it is not a magical light source like an orb or like a star. This is a sword. It just looks like a long sword that seems to have been enchanted to shed very dull, almost moonlight from within. One of you had actually seen this previously.
I think it was me.
Yeah, and they look, or maybe it was, I think it was Billy, and they're certainly like, and now especially that you found something a little nicer, these are decorative. The item that you found, that you pulled out, it has heft to it. When you hold it, it is solid, and the way that it balances in your hand, you can tell this is not like a toy or like a decoration. The things that are kind of floating and hovering in there, as they turn, you don't see like a glint off the edge. You actually see like a flat piece of metal, and so really more for like this light effect, and to allow the stars to shine.
So Minka has a moment where she thinks that she's like gonna try to copy down some of these onto the parchment that's been attached to her arm. And then she remembers that there was parchment attached to her arm.
It's just like string now.
Yeah, and then she was like, oh, that's the opposite of the point. And then she just kind of gets ready to leave.
No problem. String trailing behind you. So are you all ready to make your way out of this temple?
Periodically, as we're going, whenever Ori passes like an alcove or a piece of kelp or something, the seal head is going to pop out.
Yeah, no problem. Right out there. The first couple of times, even Sade kind of starts after this like battle that you guys just had, but
That's the blood pepper.
yeah.
Can we just get back to the ship?
I don't know why you're taking so long. Let's go.
I'm trying my best.
You're soloing us up. Let's go.
It's more difficult if you're putting animals in my face.
I am not. He's here for you.
I don't want to.
After the most recent seal that barks out, Nora, you almost can see it coming, so this one doesn't quite scare you as much. You
I feel like by the end, I'm just like,
emerging from the temple, you enter these dark, cold waters that you had come in from. But even now, the kelp feels just a little bit less ominous. Maybe you attributed it to breathing water for the first time, or perhaps it's just nice to not be surrounded by stone and floating debris, but it feels fresher. There are still sea urchins, but the ones that gathered here now seem to be dispersing and spreading out. You can see a few that have like latched onto elements of kelp. Here and there amongst the dark, you can see there are like little bits of debris that have like settled down, probably displaced as you all moved. It is, if possible, a little bit darker as it has gotten a little bit. You've been down here for about 4 or 5 hours now at this point.
we got 19 more hours to go.
Yeah. Oh no, you're doing fine on time. Absolutely.
Seal is
Sade
progressively getting smaller.
is going to turn and she's going to nod to all of you and then just say, "See you at the top," and just kick off and just begins to swim. And she's pretty quick. She has a swim speed.
Does it seem like she's out of earshot?
Yep.
I don't like that orb.
It's an arm.
It's,
I
It's
want
an
the orb.
orb that caused a high priestess puppet and kelp puppet and sea urchin puppet to
I
all
don't
attack
think
us.
that was really a
I
temple
feel so
to
bad, but I
send
really
you.
want that orb.
See? Bad
Yes.
orb.
Just because she wants it, it's bad?
I don't have a good track record of coveting items so far.
That is true, but, you know, your heart's in the right place.
That's okay,
Most of
Mika.
the
I'll get
time.
it for you later.
The thing that's concerning to me is that was not necessarily a temple for Saloon, as given the thing that we killed, and the iconography is a bit suspect. But
what was it?
our job's a job. We finished up, so
Yeah.
I'd like to get
Did anybody ever ask why we're
Some
here?
To get the
dry
orb.
Yeah, but why
Warm.
the orb? Why is it here?
It's a star
beds.
map.
Kind of tried to ask, and
Well,
then she's just like,
I mean,
Given
she's a,
her
she's a-
profession, I would assume that it is some sort of map to treasure or some
It's
other.
a map of
something.
stars.
well, you know what they say
Yes.
about assumptions. They're stupid.
She
Right,
called
well,
you
this-
stupid.
Logical
On your shoulder.
assumption based on
Pops up the
the
seal.
knowledge that I've gleaned so far from the situation, but I would
She's also got a
still very
really
much-
weird thing below deck that supposedly imbues you with power, but really it just gives you a little bit of a shock. There's ley lines down there. It seems weird.
Alright. Well, I would like to think about this stuff in a dry, warm bed. So.
It's gonna be a while. when I'm
And the seal just follows you up after.
Riding up on your shoulder.
No problem. One by one, if you wish, you can all just begin to very slowly swim your way up. Sade, like long out of your sight. At first, it's just strands of this dark kelp, and it's almost black. But as you get a little bit higher up and a little bit higher up, you're able to see just a little bit more. And as you get closer, almost very familiar to you at this point, you can see there is moonlight above. And though many of you have not really seen this before in your time in Everest, having been amongst the moonlight for this entire time, it does feel a little bit strange to return to it. But before too long, you burst out from amongst this wave and
Well, it's like a decent amount of time. We're what, like 150 feet below the water, 5 feet every 6 seconds. It's a couple minutes at least. Right?
They got 1 second here.
I think for the has anyone swum in the ocean in
I
this
think we're
party?
all-
I don't
No.
think any one of us.
I think
have
we're
ever
all
swum in the
terrible
ocean.
swimmers.
This may be the first time Minka has seen the ocean.
I think
Same.
I've seen the ocean, have not swum in
Actually,
it.
Billy might have seen the ocean, but not.
You would have probably, like, if you had been in like the mountains or something for reasons, you may have seen them.
Really seen the ocean
Yeah.
from afar.
I think I've been on the ocean, but not in the ocean.
As you surface, you can see, like, right before you burst out, there are lights that are not stars or moons, but lanterns. And you can see them, like, kind of moving about up on top. And as you through the surface and actually cough out a bunch of water and then breathe in air for the first time, and you do feel lighter almost instantly. You can see these are like lanterns that have been hung on poles, and it's like they're searching amongst the water for you. And then almost instantly, one like over you, and the group of you is illuminated by this lantern light. And you can see up as your eyes adjust on the other end of this long line, there is Kanor, the first mate. You can already see as your eyes adjust, Sade has like gotten aboard and is like drying off right now. But Kanor just kind of waves and just goes, "One moment," and he turns around and like a line comes down and another one comes down, and there is still that ladder that I think you climbed down the first time,
Yeah.
but there are ropes to climb up as well.
Climbing up.
No problem.
Scaling the wall.
You scale the wall. Give me 1 second here.
While scaling the
Shit.
hull.
Cow balloon?
What was the one that you said?
The hull?
The cow balloon. Cow balloon, that's the one.
Yeah. Start again.
It will never stop.
You can either climb up the ladder, you can take one of the ropes, but one by one if you want. Is there anything that you want to do before leaving the water?
Nope.
Okay. Easy enough, you can climb out.
I think I just want to hang out in the water. No.
I'm gonna
Like
pet a
to
dolphin.
swim alongside the ship like a dolphin.
Sora's like, I'm going to make us go faster. And he goes right behind, just kicks his legs, holding the thing. Yeah. No problem. One by one, you make your way back up onto the deck. You can see as you like pull aboard, people help you aboard. And as the water drips down onto the floorboards, you can see that very superstitious dwarf that you had seen previously is across the ship. He has like a strand of garlic around his neck now. You can see feathers coming out of his pockets. And there are a number of lines that he seems to be manning, like he's fishing over the side. You can see there are a couple other people who are like now bringing the lanterns in because you guys have been found.
We just disappeared that night.
Yeah, I know, right? And you see
They were never seen again.
as you climb up, Sade with this orb disappearing down and towards her quarters. But you are all now aboard the ship. You are welcome back. Kanor welcomes you back. The dwarf kind of turns around and just goes, "The spirit was gone when you all left. Suspicious." And he just like holds the garlic close and then goes back to what he's doing, begins to pull these lines in. It is roughly 8:30, closer to 9.
Really minor illusions, like a face peeking out from the ropes near the dwarf.
Okay. So you, this minor illusion, and you kind of make it seem like the rope just lifts up, and as it does, it's just like the eyebrow and an eye is there, and then the face pops out, and you can see he turns and then looks straight ahead and just like freezes. He's like still pulling the rope in. There's a clatter, something hits the side of the ship, but he's still pulling the rope in, and then you see this, what looks like a lobster pot or a crab trap come over, and he's still pulling, he's holding the lobster pot, and then and then drops it, and then you look, and he just turns slowly again. Is the illusion still there?
Gone.
What the fuck? He turns around, he looks at all of you, and he's like, are any of you looking at him?
I think I would be kind of like, What's going on?
He turns and he goes, "Did you see that?
See what?
The face amongst the rope."
The what?
I think you might need a break, man.
Why don't you...
I need more garlic. And you can see he like stomps on down and heads towards the very, very rudimentary galley in the crew quarters.
Billy side glances at Cheshire.
No problem.
I need
Big smile
something
and Cheshire follows.
a bit stronger than ale. There are about 18 hours left of being able to breathe liquid. So I'm going to go find a cask and take a nap.
I think at this, Kador, the first mate who like helped you all aboard and has been kind of supervising, he like had come over, and as soon as like the dwarf like ran away, he started pulling up the other two lines. And for what it's worth, in this trap, you see there is at least 2 lobster. You see a weird blob looking thing, but like, you know, they're providing dinner.
Can I make a medicine check as to whether or not Minka should check on Ori in about an hour?
Yeah, sure.
I rolled a natural 1.
Ori's fine.
Fine.
Yeah. Ori's peak of health.
So healthy.
You've all the health does Ori have. He might be hogging it, in fact, and so it might be good to take some away from him.
You're looking too healthy over there.
Just like shock the barrel real
You
quick.
got too much blood in you. Oh man, that was a real thing.
Is this what bloodletting is?
So you watch as Kanor runs over. He's like helping with the traps, and listening to you talk. He's going to just turn and say, "I can help you with that."
You are my best friend now.
He like pulls up the second trap, and he turns to whoever else is back on deck, and he just says, "Can you get the third one, please?" And he turns and he says, "Come, friend." And he like brings you down to the deck. He shows you down to like the area where there are crew quarters, and there isn't necessarily like a kitchen. It's like an area where all of the it's the cargo hold. That's the word. There's an area where the boxes have been positioned in such a place that cooking can be done safely. Is a strong word. There is this like
With
box
fewer
that is
open risks.
there's a box of steel that can sort of safely house a flame. In a storm, you would never cook down here. This would be a death trap. But you can kind of cook at certain times here.
Calm weather.
Also down here, there are a number of casks, and he pops open for you a very passable ale.
Right. So, how much for the entire cask?
Help yourself. We only have a couple days to go to Petrichor. That's where you're all going, correct?
Yep.
And there's a great ale house there. Have you been to Petrichor?
Have I been to Petrichor?
Most likely not. I mean, the Petrichor is very technically within the Feywild, and it only really appears on this plane when it rains.
Yeah.
And so, very unlikely, and it's outside of the Magiocracy.
No, I've heard of it, but I have not been. I'm looking forward to seeing it after I take a little nap in there.
Adri's Ale House. Check it out when you're there.
Eldridge's Alehouse. Thank you very much, Kano. I
course.
appreciate that, and I appreciate this. And I'm going to start taking off my clothes to soak in the ale.
I'll
and-
leave you to it then.
All right.
He turns and like heads back upstairs.
Check on me in about 15 hours. If you haven't seen me.
Sure. He turns and
When
like
the
heads back
spell
up.
wears off, I don't want to drown.
He is upstairs. For those of you who are upstairs, you can see he like the dwarf comes back up like 5 garlands of garlic. It's like up to his chin, and so it's almost like he's wearing like an Elizabethan collar of garlic, and he's like barely able to put his head down. And Kanor just goes, "Can you check on him in like an hour? I'm kind of concerned about his blood loss." And the dwarf just goes, "We should all be concerned right now, sir." And he just goes, "I'm not going to ask questions about this, but please." And he goes, "Yes, sir," and walks away.
I'm taking a nap in the keg.
No problem. You take a nap after drinking quite a bit of it. You are drunk, but also asleep.
Yeah, I'm like sleeping under the top of it and just kind of like breathing in the alcohol.
Or he's
for the
decided
next
that
2
drunken
hours.
trip is more of like a lifestyle
Yeah,
culinary choice.
Absolutely. Call me shrimp. So, no problem. You get real drunk. What are the rest of you doing to pass this evening?
Do I get a
make
long
sure
rest from
Alina is settled.
Oh, wait.
And kind of like looks around for Sade.
Okay. If you look around for a little bit, she's in her office. You can see as you approach, there is a very bright light that is coming from within. And as you get close, the glass is all broken from this window pane. And so there's nothing between. You can see she has this magical source of light, very clearly arcane. And as she shines it through this glass orb, you can see like pressed almost against the orb, there is a single point of light. So it doesn't like diffract at all. This is like almost perfectly clear, save these tiny little characters that are etched in, and you see a language that you do not speak. Etched across complex symbols. Make a flat intelligence check.
2, 3, 1.
Natural
20?
20?
Nice. You're taking those rolls from last night and applying them tonight.
Billy, there was a time where you. There were many times where you met travelers, but there was one time in particular where somebody who maybe you spent more time with had traveled a little bit more than you, especially beyond the borders of Everest, a little bit further to a continent called Dominion. And while they were there in the city called Dungannon, in the burning marketplace, they found amongst the stalls this beautiful piece of clothing, and it had writing very similar to this. She had told you that this was from a group that was called the Zinyi. And so that's probably the language. But what this is, you can't really make out any of the words or any of the symbols. It's complex, and part of it to you speaks of being in a puzzle. This is almost certainly beyond being, and like when Sade even taps this globe, the whole image shifts. So like there must be so much information stored on this, and it's not direct. This is all encrypted or like otherwise kind of hidden. Unclear if Sade knows, but she's just like ever so slightly tapping it, examining it, and tapping it and examining it. And with a natural 20, you would imagine that this is probably something relating to that group.
And does Billy know anything of that group or not really?
No.
Okay.
There's no reason that you would, unfortunately.
If that's the case, Billy's gonna just like knock on
Okay.
the door.
You can see she like touches the orb and it all the way over, and you can just see like it's like somebody zoomed in a microscope too much now, and it's like all blurry. What?
Billy like puts her head to the broken pane so that like Sade can see her face. It's like, got a second?
It does not seem that I have a choice, but yes, we are at sea. What?
Billy enters.
Locked.
You wanna open the door?
She turns, like sighs, gets up from her chair. You can see she waves a hand over this little orb and the light down. And just very dim light from a single lantern, she walks over and opens the door. What?
Did she let Billy inside?
No, she's standing at the door.
You said we'd talk about the orb thing when we got back on the boat.
I said we might. Why do you want to know? What does this have to do with you?
I almost died helping you get it, and I recognize that this is supposed to be like our payment for taking your ship to Petrichor, but also you owe a favor to the guy who hired us, or he owes it. I don't really know or frankly care who owes who what at this point. I just know that that orb thing almost got us killed because it was using a dead high priestess as a puppet. How'd you hear about it?
Make a persuasion check. Almost disadvantaged, but not quite.
I'm not exactly being nice. 14.
14. It is a map. These stars are not just things that hang in the sky. It is another ocean, one beyond this place, the astral sea, and beyond that, the Glimmering Oasis, the place where all heroes go to die. And beyond that is what I seek. What do you seek?
Yeah, after that, kind of feels trite to say revenge. I seek death for those who wronged me and those I care about. Also, those I care about who are maybe in the Glimmering Oasis.
Okay. She seems to consider that a little bit. Revenge, I can respect. But what you look for is not the same. I am looking for the captain. You? Somebody. But no hero. She stands up. Make yourself at home, but this is personal for me.
Sorry if it bothered you.
She shuts the door. But not necessarily in your face.
You just want to watch your nose there.
Just stand back a little bit, you're gonna get okay.
Your nose will actually be in the way.
Don't actually want to hit you.
I just need to pee, really.
Sorry, I was about to take a bathroom break and you cut me early at that time.
Alright. I'm playing a game that has no saves.
It's a roguelike, you don't understand. I have to go back to the beginning if I die.
So, is there anything else that you want to do before this first night passes?
Using a combination of dancing lights, minor illusion, mage hand, and prestidigitation to freak this dwarf out as much as I possibly
I'm so
can.
glad that
You're trying to get him up. You've kind of redlined him in that way.
I can get some rest.
For a couple hours and then.
I would say you've a little bit kind of like redlined him in terms of fear, but no problem continuing to do that. By like before you like settle in for the night, he is like standing in a little circle of salt. He has like marks written all over him in Elvish, and you do learn that he speaks several languages, and probably for this purpose, he has like all these different little like enchantments written on him, none of which are magical, and you can tell that being a practitioner of magic.
Different languages of him just being like, I spent so much money on this useless shit. He doesn't know what it actually means. He thinks it's fucking incantation.
I mean, a little. But, like, you know, he's trying everything in the book. You can see, like, every time he turns around, he spits on the ground. He's just, like, looking back and forth. There is a point where he actually farts a little bit and he screams. And, like, he's really, really having a bad time now.
At one point, I would go up to him. Are you okay?
None of us are okay.
Is it the spirit?
It's the spirits. But
I have something for you if you
What?
want. I'll pull out Ori's flute.
No!
I don't put it in.
No. You play it. It doesn't matter how well you play it. You just play it.
And he, like, holds his hands out.
Gold piece.
I don't have a gold piece.
What do you have?
I have 3 silver pieces.
Okay.
And I have garlic.
You can keep the garlic. Silver.
Takes it out. 3 silver pieces. Takes your flute. He takes it and he goes, and I just play this whenever I want.
Oh, yeah.
Just begins to like jam out of his flute. It's horrible. We've all been in 3rd grade recorder class, and so if you're an American, you know what that is. And so it's like that. The first day when nobody has learned how to like hold the instinct to just blast this as hard as they can. And you can see he grins. He's happy. He looks around. He goes, "I can't hear the ghosts." Just starts blasting it again. And for what it's worth, probably bought him about 3 silver pieces worth of comfort. I mean, he looks way better. So, did you rip him off? Hard to tell. And actually, especially now that he has Ori's flute,
3 silver pieces for it?
pretty
This
good.
is the kindest thing that Cheshire has done in this campaign so far.
No, it's not.
She's the cause of his paranoia.
But has also, well, not entirely.
All of you a headache.
And so, as you try to fall asleep in this first evening, every now and then you are awoken by this blast of flute music. And yes, you certainly hear it, Ori. Minka, did you have something you wanted to do?
I wanted to check out the sickle.
Okay.
Do I recognize it as my flute
Too drunk.
from the sound?
Make a flat intelligence check, and this is a pretty high DC because it does not sound like
And
your
I'm,
flute.
and I'm like under alcohol.
The first time that you, the first time that you hear it, your first instinct is like, is the ship breaking? And then you're like, I don't fucking care. I can breathe water. And then you go back to sleep.
24.
24. With a 24? Yeah. There's a moment where like he kind of hiccups into it and it plays one clean note and you're like, wait, that's mine. That E flat. I know that.
Splashing out of my keg, bolting upstairs. How drunk am I at this point?
I would say like you make a Constitution saving throw. That will really tell.
So Ori is super pale and now super wet and super smelly and just like took his clothes
And Ori's got scars all over. And that's a 4.
So blackout, I would say. So you like rush up, and as you like rush up, he's like playing the flute out on the deck, and you can see only one strand of garlic. He's feeling pretty confident. Some of the like writing has like worn off, and he hasn't reapplied it. And he's just out there playing at the moon, and
Charging towards him. Give me my flute!
make an athletics check.
10.
10. He yanks it out of the way. You're too drunk, and he slides underneath you. You try to grab him, and he whacks you with the flute in the knee, and he just says, "The spirits will get you!" And he
I'll get
blasts the
you!
flute at you as hard as he
I'll
can.
make
It's
you a
just loud,
spirit. It's
like piercing, and then he just bolts. And
I'm
runs.
chasing.
As you try to chase him on a ship of which you have not really traveled aboard, as it begins to cast side to side, you fall. You're drunk.
Shit.
You lose him very quickly. However,
Sticky and wet and naked.
like an hour later, you hear like quietly he begins to play again, and so if you want to not sleep, you can continue to chase him.
I'm gonna like take a quick nap. I'm just like laying on the deck like, I at you. And then I feel like I'd hear it again and just snap back to him and be like, ah!
Yeah. You get like an hour, you get like 55 minutes of sleep, and then and you run back over, and the same thing repeats. Go ahead and make an athletics check.
This is better.
There's no way.
17?
Yeah, 21. God. He like snatches it away. This time you already are like limping. You don't remember, but you twisted your ankle at some point now. And so like every time you wake up, it's progressively harder. You're like injured, or now like the third time you wake up, both of your legs are asleep. So you just face plant. And there is a part where finally you like are resigned to the fact that you're not going to get it. You fall asleep.
Going back to
Go to sleep for like
going back to my keg.
yeah, you fall asleep for like 2 hours, and then blast of the flute right in your ear, and he runs back upstairs. You brought this on yourself, and he just runs.
I'm like
The real
sipping,
storyline of the campaign. Ori attempting to get his loot back.
sipping the alcohol. I'm like sitting in the champagne bath, just drinking the champagne, but it's really like the most pathetic iteration of that.
Yes, very much so.
Just like
Minka, you hear all of this happening, and there's a point where you're like, no, and you just begin to look at this. If you take an hour, you discover that. Oh my God.
oh, also I still have the crown on for what it's worth.
No, you don't.
Oh no, you
not.
took
Took
it.
it.
God damn it! I thought
Cheshire is all of our stuff.
I sip harder.
Yeah, kind of. So this, you discover, is an uncommon +1 moon sickle. It's a kind of silvery blade, and as you hold it for the very first time, really standing in this moonlight, it seems to intensify the light along the edge. When you hold this weapon, you get that +1 to attack rolls and bonuses. Same thing for the bonus to spell attack rolls and saving throw DCs of your druid or ranger spells. This bonus is determined by the weapon's rarity, which is uncommon, so it's +1. And in addition, this serves as a spellcasting focus. Also, when you cast a spell that restores hit points, you can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the amount of hit points restored, provided you are holding the sickle.
Nice.
Yep.
We like
That's
that.
yours.
We like that.
After like realizing what it is, Minka's just like, and then she's looking at the shield that she normally holds and goes, "Oh no, how am I gonna hold all 3 of these things?"
And if you find one more cool rock, you'll have 4 things you need to hold, and that's even more. Ugh.
So I think she'll spend at least like probably about half an hour trying to figure out if she could hold her staff, the shield, and the sickle at the same time.
Sure.
And different iterations of trying to hold them until she just finally gives up and goes to bed.
You begin to like juggle all this stuff around. Go ahead and make an Arcana check just for fun.
Shield, staff, sickle.
All of them together.
8.
Yeah, it's tough to hold all those things at the same time, and so you don't really learn much more about this item, but it's cool, and you have it, and you've never really had something this purposeful and this like this is special, and it isn't something that you built, and that in and of itself is like this is nice. Anybody else have anything they want to do?
Billy's gonna start to tuck in for the night and just kind of like think over their discussion with Sade.
Okay.
And she's going to kind of hone in on this idea of the glimmering oasis, and just kind of think about if she's ever heard that mentioned before.
Make an Arcana check.
I'm just breathing alcohol until I wake up.
It's hard to really tell. I mean, the glimmering oasis, it's not something that you've heard about directly. Maybe at some point when there were still people around to tell stories, you heard a story about this place. But if so, it's the kind of thing that's like fantastical and not something that you would latch onto as a fact, and so it has no real purchase in your memory. As far as you could tell, you haven't really heard of it before.
But Billy's gonna think of Morwa and who Billy believed she was, and the fact that she's probably
Even though Sade told you no, Sade doesn't know.
Sade doesn't know.
And you go to sleep, and as you wonder these things, you do fall asleep with a little smile. You can all mark off a long rest.
Even me?
Even you.
Yeah.
You do wake up an hour and a half later than everybody else. I would say closer to 3 hours, actually.
Probably still drunk
And
since
still-
I
Yes. Oh, yeah. No, there's no probably about that. All right. Give me 1 second here. So the night does pass without issue. You do have the luxury of having people who are keeping watch on your behalf, which certainly benefits this party. Give me 1 moment here.
Yep.
But we're good at remembering to keep watch, right?
We've never missed a watch.
Never.
On button.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely not twice, one after the other.
Definitely not make it, once again, not even considering the concept of a watch.
Like wristwatch?
Just I don't think Minka ever remembers the watch ever. I don't think she thinks about it
When
until
your
someone else
eyes are
mentions
in a
it.
direction, is that watching?
Definitely.
Depends on the
Especially-
direction.
I mean, she looks at the
really.
ground more than most things, so
That's
You're
the
watching
watch.
the ground.
I
But
do
is
watch
that-
the ground a lot.
Things might come from there.
You never know.
You will never be
We're
caught
good
by
watchers.
surprise from the ground. Oops, a little loud is the water.
Same as-
Safe from bullets.
So, you wake up one by one, and is there anything that you're doing like before starting your day? In terms of like going up to the deck and like seeing what's going on, or
If I hear that flute again, I'm hunting it down.
you do not hear the flute. You like listen, waking up.
Oh.
You're kind of drunk, and you like don't really know if that was a dream or
Am I
not. but-
coherent enough to realize that I'm still naked?
Yeah,
All right, I'd
it's
put my
not
clothes
hard to realize that.
I don't know. If I'm drunk enough, I might be like,
We've had different experiences, my friend.
not me personally, the character.
So as you make your way up one by one, if you choose to do so, you would see the crew kind of going about. There is a very pleasant smell aboard, and it seems as if there is some kind of a pot that has been lugged up on deck, not using the sort of unsafe space down there. Whatever was caught in that pot or in the lobster traps, probably cooking or boiling away, and it does smell like seafood and mixed in with the salt air. It's pretty good. Ori, not the best smell for you first thing in the morning. It smells pretty good for most people, but for you, it's kind of like low tide. And as your stomach like heaves and turns, and the ocean a little rougher than it was yesterday, today is probably going to be a downstairs day, but entirely up to you.
How much of the keg is left?
I would say like probably a good amount of it. You are one person. Everybody else, however, now kind of like, and some of the soup has been taken. Everybody seems to be in a pretty good mood, and already the ship like cutting through the ocean. For those of you who are more familiar with like the sun and how to navigate and orient yourself, you are heading south and in the direction of where you are supposed to be going. Kanor would spot whoever it is that comes up first. Who wakes up first?
Probably not me.
No, definitely not you.
I think it might be Minko.
Yeah.
Yeah, Billy follows quick after.
Okay. So Minka comes up first. Probably if it's not Billy or Cheshire, he's gonna just kind of, especially actually, he saw you with the parchment, so he's gonna look and say, "Oh, good morning.
Morning.
Let's just wait for everybody to get up, and we'll go over the details of this journey. We're entering into the Anima Mare today, and there are things that everybody should know."
Oh,
Billy's like trying to untangle like the salt-soaked hair from the branches that are growing out.
Yeah, and now it's like somehow, for those of you who, in the past, you've camped with Billy in the forest and places where it kind of makes sense, but now you just came up from the ocean, and already somehow Billy has like sticks and twigs and all kinds of things like nestled into their hair. Still damp, still like a little bit wet from the night before. But one by one, you do wake up. And I would say when all of you but Ori arrives, like a half hour goes by, and then Kanor says, "We could get started. It's fine."
Eventually, I'm just like, so far.
We are traveling through the Anima Mare. This is the more dangerous part of this journey. So, most of you are from Everest, I believe, correct? So you're familiar with the way that the Feywild works?
Generally.
Okay. Well, not in and of itself one of the quasi-realms of the Feywild, it does follow the same rules. And as such, you do want to be mindful of your mood. It reacts to the way that you're feeling. Typically speaking, we try not to pollute the water, as it also has a tendency to react quite negatively to that. Are you going to throw over the side?
Probably at this point.
Fantastic. You can see as soon as he says, "We try not to pollute the water," Ori staggers up from below deck and just vomits over the side. And you can see Kenner goes, "No, not like that." And he like runs over and like pulls you back from the side. And he like gently lowers you down to the deck, and he says, "Just throw up on the deck. It's fine."
I was just gonna get some fresh air.
And you can see every time he starts to talk, he gets a whiff, and he like can't keep talking. He keeps like gulping, and he just goes, "Let's go to the other side of the ship." And he like goes over.
I follow the lead.
"You guard that place," and he just like makes his way over.
I'm gonna go guard whatever place
Yeah.
he's standing at. I'm not looking, so I'm just like, what after you?
Oh no, he just keeps going. And at this point, he's like, we'll talk later. And he just keeps running away. And now Ori is like almost just like a puke Roomba following him around.
Gods and places.
So you've lost your orientation. The first day gets underway, and most of you are awake and on deck by 11 o'clock. Is there anything that you want to do over the course of your first day? It's probably going to take you between like 3 and 4 days to get here.
Thinking about the materials that we would have needed, or that the Dragonborn back in
Yep.
wanted for like his deal. Billy's gonna like be kind of like watching over the ship every now and then for signs of water elementals.
Okay, no problem. You look over the side of the ship. You see Ori's vomit like streak down the side a little bit. But aside from that, make a perception check.
Oh, that's not.
Oh, really?
It's 15.
There's a lot of water beneath you. And so to suss out the living elements of it from the water elements of it would be difficult on a normal day. You keep getting whiffs of vomit that like hit you, and you keep hearing Ori just kind of mumbling around behind you. And like there's a part, almost the Doppler effect, where he's like, I'm just going to follow you. Just kind of like continues walking away. It's distracting. You don't really see anything.
Like if Alina's nearby, Billy's gonna just hey. He's almost worse this way.
Now Billy, and she just like, Alina. That is Billy. Anybody else doing anything for the first day, or what would you like to do over the course of the first day?
I would like to find the dwarf that Cheshire and also now Billy has been tormenting.
Okay. There is one person asleep below deck. If you were to trek down there, eventually you hear like a little snore, and then a little snore, and then and as you go over, asleep, like holding the flute, like clutching so that his nose is like blowing into it every time he exhales, is the dwarf. And he's holding what you recognize as Ori's flute.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, he's asleep right now, so it's probably better.
Okay, so Minka's gonna try to find something that's iron that she can file down with her Chuler's kit to get some iron filings
Okay.
for like spells.
I mean, you look over and there is like a nail that's worked its way mostly out of the wet wood, and you can very easily like even just clip part of the head of the nail off and just like shave that down. Yeah, metal filing is very easy.
Okay, and he's gonna wait until the dwarf wakes up, because hearing like the thing from the first mate about moods and emotions and strong emotions maybe not being so great, and thinking to the particular brand of paranoia that has been brought up in this dwarf, she's just gonna kind of keep an eye on him.
Okay, yeah, that's not a bad idea. He does wake up very calmly and like blast of a flute. You do feel, and you're not sure if it's your mind. You can make an insight check if you want, but you do feel at that moment a wave like buffets the ship a little bit, and hard to tell if it's just the water. Minka?
I have a grand total of 10. So
Just the water.
just the water. Okay.
Hi. Are you okay? You were having a rough night.
Are you real?
I think so.
Thinking isn't good enough.
Well, I mean,
He whaps you on the top of the head with the flute, and he goes, I'm so sorry. There's been ghosts haunting me all night. And he goes over and he just pats your head, and he just goes, I'm really sorry. And he reaches in and he pulls out a little flask, and he goes, I don't think you like it, but help yourself. And he gives you a little flask.
that's okay. It's okay.
It's garlic juice.
I'm okay. I actually came here to offer you. Okay, so you've been like really haunted, and I was thinking maybe I could, do a small spell to help you feel more protected.
I don't know about that. Spells are evil work, but what kind of spell?
It's a protection spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just sit here, And you can close your eyes if you want to. Just give me a few minutes here.
And Mika's gonna cast protection from evil and good.
Okay. So as you, what does it look like when you cast the spell?
So she holds onto her staff and she kind of like gently waves her hand over the dwarf's head, and just kind of like starlight sparkles just kind of like start to like drift down over him, causing like coating him in like a glitter dust.
And he's like, you can see he like snatches at it a little bit and like tries to grab some. There's a point where he sticks his tongue out and is like trying to catch some, but he seems to be pretty first of all pretty enthused by this, but then also he turns around and he goes, I can feel it working.
Good. So hopefully that'll help with the ghost thing.
I don't think I need this anymore.
Oh.
He goes over to the porthole and just splash. Thanks. And he just heads back up whistling. And yeah, so Mika.
Mika looks out the portal.
He seems like he's in great spirits.
Did you see the? It's gone, isn't it?
Right down. It's metal. Or not metal, but it's heavy enough that, yeah, definitely. And it's the ocean. I mean, hard to see a flute in the ocean. But Ori, in your drunken state, you see the dwarf whistling, happy as could be, and you thought he doesn't have your flute, so maybe it was just like a dream.
At some point, I do want to go do some surveillance on this orb.
Sure.
What else there might be on this ship?
Okay. Make an investigation check. 18. So you look around the ship for a little bit. So with an 18, you are able to pick your way through most of the crew's stuff if you really want to. You find that this dwarf, Jimmins, comes from a place called Koltaram over in Dominion, and he very, very superstitious. If you hadn't figured that out already, you can see he's tracking like the moon cycles, and he has like several dates that are circled, and he says big evil on them, and like, do you speak Dwarvish? Oh, okay, so mostly Dwarvish. There is some common in there, but like the intensity of the handwriting and everything, it's like you read fear in this writing.
For his stuff, I want to very calculatedly pick like a couple things up and rearrange them.
Okay, yeah, no problem. You go through Kanor's stuff. You do find like a set of chainmail armor, a longsword. You can see a tabard that has a very faded red shield that at one point was maybe painted or printed onto it. There is 30 pieces of gold in this small leather pouch. As you continue on, there's a point where you get to the captain's quarters, and Sade is asleep, and you can hear this like gentle breathing from the other side. You can't see where she is. You can see from the light that's coming in from the kind of like deck that goes out near the rear. There is light that comes in, and on this like stand that's just a little bit too big, and so it sinks almost halfway down. This is probably meant for like a beaker or flask, but the orb sits in it almost like halfway sunken in, and you see like it's just kind of glimmering off that.
Anything else in the ship of note or some use?
I mean, if you're going to continue to look around, you go down into the cargo hold. There's all kinds of stuff down there. You can find like there are some. Let's see, where were they last? Okay, so there are some elements of like silks, cloths, and things that really do seem to speak to you of like somewhere nearby the Emerald Spire, nothing super exotic. So they're probably traveling along the East Coast. You don't find anything that's like commercial trade goods, no spices, nothing like that. There is not a ton of weaponry. There are, on either side of the ship, 3 tubes of metal that seem to have some kind of component to them that it smells very, very bitter, whatever this powder is. You find all of that, and then near the bottom you do find like these ley lines, and Billy had spoken about them. They lead to an area, and as you go down there, your hair begins to pick up a little bit, and you look around. There are 2 barrels that look a little bit odd, very smooth and kind of rounded along the edges. Definitely not meant to hold liquid because you can see spaces between the boards. Very thin, but there are spaces. And then you can see still open because Billy did not shut it and nobody has been down since. This kind of like cupboard, and inside you see straight down the head of a bronze griffin.
Am I able to intuit what this is?
Make an Arcana check.
21.
With a 21, you follow these, and the fact that they are traced in gold, and this is real gold, you especially, you know real gold, and you look down and you're like, wow, this is real. And it's leaf, but still, it runs along ley lines, and typically gold is used, in really ornate places, and you look around, you've seen the dwarf, you've seen your group. This is not like royalty sailing on this ship. Other times it is used in arcane rituals and spells, and that seems to be more what this is. You don't see any glyphs that would indicate this, and so there must be components that you can't see of this. And then you look over to these barrels, there is something to those that kind of speaks to maybe like a fuel source for this device. This seems like it is probably either something designed to make the ship go faster, to stabilize it in some way, to protect it, or much more likely, given the positioning right at the prow, something designed to do damage.
File that away for later.
Sure.
And then make my way back up.
Okay, no problem.
If at any point I notice the dwarf walking around and he doesn't have the flute, start bringing the spirits back.
Okay, hang on. Okay, so there is a point where he's up on deck and the rope lifts up, and you can see he looks down and he just goes, huh, not today. And he turns back and he's just humming, and you do see every now and then he does like look back over, but he just like starts whistling again, and it's not 100% solid yet, but he's feeling pretty good about the spell. It's a real spell. He could feel it work, and so he's feeling pretty good about it. So he's overcome that fear. For what it's worth, probably a pretty good use of that spell slot. I would say you guys have invested 3 silver and a spell slot into him, and he has benefited a good amount from it. So.
Hope it wasn't magical.
So it's about noon. This soup is finished.
How much time has it been since we took the not potion of water breathing, potion of water existing, or
About 28
breathing,
hours.
whatever, yeah. Because it was specifically not a potion of water breathing, but it was something that had the similar effect, right?
Yeah, it is a potion of water breathing. You asked if it was a potion of, I think it's like adaptive living, whatever that one is that gives you gills. It is not that. You very specifically made sure you weren't going to turn into fish people when you drink. However,
Right, well, I'm still fucking hammered.
it is about noon. You can see people beginning to like come up and take little bowls of the soup. Ori, what is your mood like right now?
Still pretty drunk, pretty like unaware of what's really happening, but just kind of like. As I will be very grateful
Poor Ori.
as you told me.
Poor you.
So
Your life is so hard.
as you go down, you get me food, or you
I
get
don't have your food.
another drink, or
I think you've had plenty to drink.
as food. Is it?
Here, come with me, Ori. I'm gonna bring you to the edge of the ship.
Okay. You pull Ori up to the edge.
Oh yeah, so what?
See what's down there?
It's a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a drink.
That's salty.
You might need some salt.
Now, I've had plenty of salt in the last couple of days. I would prefer some more alcohol.
But if you keep drinking all that and don't add some salt into your diet, you're just going to become
So I'll eat
liquid.
some fish later. It'll be fine. There's all fish everywhere.
You haven't eaten, you threw up the
I'll go eat some fish. You go get me something to wash it down with. I shall meet you back here in a few.
Make a dexterity saving throw, Ori.
Is it at disadvantage from being drunk?
Yeah, certainly.
Really watching this.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, look at that. Still at disadvantage. It was a natural 20 and an 18. So,
Nice.
Or he's got some like drunken agility there.
yeah.
Sort of,
Drunken
yeah.
Master.
Have
It's
you
a
ever seen the
25.
movie? Like, so there's a movie where a baby gets kidnapped, and then it's like a ball rolls out a window, and it follows it, and the kidnappers have to keep this baby alive,
Oh, and
and
it's
this baby is like determined to die.
Tottering over the
Yeah,
edge and then just
exactly.
like, what?
This is kind of Ori, and so you watch as you hip check him, and you intend just to like knock him over the side, no problem. He goes over the side, into the lifeboat, like a foot down from the edge, and then Ori, you're like ready to fall into the water, and you are fine. And then you can see this little rope, which was the one that dwarf had been using previously and didn't really get a chance to resecure because he was busy last night. Begins to unravel, and Ori, your whole boat begins to drop down. It drops down and down and down, and it's about to slam into the water at a rate in which you imagine it will probably kind of hurt. And at that moment, it's like something catches on the rope and it swings like all the way to the side. And now, Ori, you're just like on a back and forth. Like, what is that thing called at the amusement park? And it goes up and down and up and down.
That thing.
Yeah, that ship. You got the smooth ship going on, Ori. And so as you smooth ship up and down, it's kind of nice, and you get pretty tired actually. And before too long, Cheshire, though you attempted to dunk him in the water, you put Ori down for a nap.
Success.
Yeah, and so
Fish on here.
You've-
Billy's,
the
like, on
most effective
opposite
crowd
side of the
control.
deck, and it's just like,
There's like one or two other crew members that are like, that was pretty good, yeah. So, Cheshire, after that, what is your mood like?
Overall upbeat.
Okay.
Looking to cause some trouble.
Billy?
Cost enough already?
No.
there's a lot of talk of the glimmering oasis and dead people last night.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's time for a seance.
They're complicated, but on the lighter side of complicated. Like
Okay.
like answers have been found.
Okay. Minka?
You know when your dog is like stole a treat and you found out and it looks at you and it's a guilty face?
Mm-hmm.
Guilty face.
Yeah. You hear Ori just go, can you just get my flute? And you're like, no, she probably can't. Unless she got real good at swimming in the last hour.
like very like solemn and like can't look at Ori.
I can't look at
Cheshire's
you
still
either
next
because
to
I'm
Warfaz.
down
You're sleeping.
I'm down asleep.
You're sleeping, and I would say Cheshire and Billy, the two of you, kind of a little bit right of like neutral. Minka, you seem to be having the strongest emotions, so go ahead and roll a D100, please.
That one's cocked. It was the same roll. It's fate at 99.
99. Wow. Okay.
There's always 99 reasons to come back for more.
Yeah. 99 water elementals.
Best deals in town. Not a sponsor.
Minka, you are having a lot of conflicted emotions, and so you take a little bit of time, maybe go off towards the back. If you were going to try to take some privacy on the ship, where would it be?
I think it would probably be, since it seems like most people are like up and above and like doing stuff, she'd probably go down below and just kind of find like a little quiet corner, maybe where they were like doing,
I'm just like,
making stuff yesterday with potions and stuff. Just try to like a little secluded so no one's directly observing her.
Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. You take a little bit of time to like be further away from the rest of this group. You feel a little bit conflicted, and so much like the waves beneath you, there are times where it rises and it falls. You're not really sure at which of these points. You notice a couple of like noises from above. For the rest of you aboard, everybody make a perception check. Not you, you're sleeping. Actually, you know what, Ori? Make it at disadvantage.
12.
Okay.
17.
How many dice are you rolling over there?
This one just kept bouncing all over the place and not
I didn't
landing.
even put a cork in that.
I know, it hit off the other one. Perception?
Yeah.
For being asleep at 12's not bad.
No, not bad at all. Cheshire, as you are kind of like looking around for something to do, you know, it's a bright new day. Everybody seems like they're in a pretty upbeat mood, and those are the best people to mess with. And so you're like looking around for something to do, and you notice a disturbance in the water below Ori. And so you kind of go over, is Ori dropping stuff in the water? And if so, can you take it? And you look below, and the water line, not terribly far, maybe like 10 feet down, and you see this little face up from the water, and it is a sea otter. And you can see the eyes, a little bit of chartreuse mottled with black, and you see these little, I know, it's really sad when she's like, you see like the little hands clasped together, and between them, something clutched. It like underneath, and you watch as it up like right underneath where Ori is. And you watch as it, and this, you can see it's a shell before it taps and falls back into the water. It disappears underneath, re-emerges and throws it up, and you watch as Ori right in the face with an oyster. You see one or two or three more of these little otters come up, and in total, Ori, though you are asleep, you are covered with 5 oysters that get tossed into you, all of them shot living oysters, and you wait for them to come back, and they're gone.
I don't know how to do this information.
There you go.
So I'm gonna turn back and find a place on the deck that's relatively out of the way, but still inside of everyone, and just play some music while we're traveling.
Okay. What kind of music are you playing?
Jaunty travel music.
There you go, jaunty travel music. Make a performance check, please.
Oh, this jaunty travel music is so apt.
That is a 21.
A 21.
Wow.
You begin to play a jaunty travel tune, and as you do, you hear a bunch of people begin to hum, and before too long, the song that you play just becomes the rhythm of the deck, and people begin to move, and the work becomes very efficient. And even more so than that, Cheshire, you begin to like feel this music, and as you're like moving, there's a point where you feel this sweeping melody erupt out, and as you do, the wind into the sails, and the whole ship begins to move faster. And this favorable headwind seems to almost respond to this positive, upbeat music, and you imagine you're going to make great time today, so long as everything continues the way it's going. You look down, Ori's just like the boat now, every now and then, like into the side.
Billy's also like kind of like head bobbing.
Yeah, no problem. And so over the course of the first day, and Minka, you hear just like those little like clap clap clap, and then you hear like the thump 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 as this like boat begins to move much faster. The first day, there is a part where Kanor kind of comes down. It's maybe like closer to the time when the sun's beginning to set, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And he comes up to whoever is up on deck, and he's going to just kind of remark, "We made great time today. You've all done pretty well. I'm surprised. I didn't get a chance to say, but bad music, song, or dance will incur the wrath of the ocean. So thank you for playing something positive." You kind of do this big bow, still playing music. And then, yeah, no problem. He turns and says, "The day got away from me. The final rule. If we are going to take life from the ocean, for instance, the fishing that we did, something must be returned. Be it pieces of copper, something symbolic. But otherwise, the balance is off, and we tend to find things get much more animated." Turns back and like goes back to doing what he was doing.
Is that why there were seals throwing oysters at Ori?
Are you asking him that, or are you thinking
Yeah.
that?
No, I'm
Okay.
asking.
He turns and just goes, "Seals."
Yeah, in the water. They threw otter? Was it otters? Or was that
Sea otters.
Sea otters.
Seals.
Seals on mine.
Seals on mine. Is that why otters were throwing oysters in the water?
What?
Well, I still got him like.
He's in the
There are
boat.
otters downstairs?
No, this was over the side. Or is in the boat.
He like you can see it doesn't quite click what you're saying, so he goes over and looks over and he goes, oh, and he like points and he goes, there are oysters down there.
Yeah, there were like 5, 6 of them. They were throwing them up there.
You didn't think that's kind of weird.
That is kind of weird. I don't know what to do with it.
Is he dead?
Quite possibly. But it wouldn't be.
Okay, well, they're clearly not harmful, so maybe bring him up and look at the oysters. We could put him back down.
He can remain in the boat.
Billy starts playing her flute for about 10 minutes to ritually cast Unseen Servant.
Make a performance check. You are in a place that is very close to the Feywild, and so playing music here has a pretty marked effect, including casting spells. 22. This ocean continues to pick up, and as you like begin to play just to cast this spell, but adding on to this song that Cheshire has already kind of begun, even faster, you begin to travel so much so that as you begin to like lower Ori again.
I'm not worried, I'm just mage handle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Kanor is like is winching the whole boat up, and so all three of you are doing different things.
I got this.
He goes, well, it's getting a little bit rougher now, so he's like beginning to like wheel him back in, and he's like, we should probably put him downstairs. He gets him up, and he like picks Ori up and like lugs him over his shoulder, and he goes, it's fine. I'll bring him below.
What? Kanor.
Takes him back down.
Kanor, what time is it? Put me back in the keg.
Oh, we're going to the keg, buddy. Don't worry.
Let's go to the keg.
He brings you downstairs, and you see within this boat there are 5 of these little oysters. One of them has completely dried out in the time that you guys have just kind of left them there, and so it's popped open, and you can see there's a beautiful pearl within. You can take one 25 gold piece pearl.
Just like sitting on your chin.
Yeah.
I think at this point, hearing Ori be brought downstairs and like crying out, as they like pass by, Minga's gonna go up to Ori and be like,
You see Kanor puts him down. He's like, thanks, but I'm not your mom.
and to see how like out of it he still is, I'm just gonna cast Lesser Restoration on him.
Okay. Suddenly, Ori, it's almost as if somebody splashes you with cold water, though unlike the previous time that you were conscious or aware of things, you are not wet. You are dry and suddenly, shockingly, almost aggressively sober. You come to, it's almost like this kind of like, and you're just awake, everything is going on. You can see Kanor is just like, I'm not your mom, buddy. and everything is just crystal clear to you.
It's the Pixar Zoom for men at
Yes,
sea.
exactly that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know
So we're just going to put you down for the night
What? Why?
because of how drunk you are.
I believe you're mistaken, Kanor. I'm perfectly fine.
He like kind of sets you down on your feet. He gives your not like to push you, but he gives your shoulders a gentle tap. Huh. And he like thinks, and you hear him just go, Cheshire, and he goes back upstairs.
Hey, give her a good one for me.
Disappears up the stairs.
So, what was I?
I think at this point, Minga's gonna like go and like maybe say something and just turn around and go back upstairs to try to find Billy or
You see
Cheshire.
Mika's just like right upstairs.
See you later then. Am I near the keg, or did he bring me not to the keg?
No, he certainly brought you to the other side of the ship.
Can you go look for something to drink?
Yeah, sure, no problem. You know where the keg is. All right, head back to the keg. Nothing bad happened last time.
Just this time, not going into the keg. Just gonna scoop out a mug full of it.
Just beautifully soaked previously, so it's really marinated now.
Yeah. No problem. The first day passes very positively for all of you, playing music, allowing the wind to really carry you along. Is there anything that you want to do before sleeping for the first evening?
I think I would find either Billy, Cheshire, or Lena, depending on who I run into first.
Billy's like just on top of the deck, just
It's not going to be
keeping an eye
Alina.
out for.
Yeah.
I would probably bring a mug of ale to Cheshire to try and negotiate for my stuff back.
Okay, so definitely Billy.
Okay.
Hey, Billy, we have like a small problem.
Yeah,
So, do you remember Ori's flute?
unfortunately.
Do you remember how, the dwarf had Ori's flute?
Yeah.
The dwarf threw it out the window.
What?
He threw it out the window into the ocean. It went down, it went by so fast, it sunk so fast.
Minka, I know we joke a lot, and that one, I think we can talk about humor on this plane. Oh gods.
I didn't throw it. The dwarf just threw it out the window. It just happened so fast.
You can't tell him.
What are you gonna do?
He thinks Cheshire has it, right? Or the dwarf has it. He doesn't know, right?
No.
Just don't tell him. I mean, honestly, he shot me in the back. That's.
Alright.
I was hoping maybe making him sober would reduce the amount of yelling, but I don't know if that'll work.
No, this will be a different kind of yelling. Drunk Ori, in this case, I hate to say it, might be preferable.
Oh.
But don't worry, I think Billy looks over and sees the mugs of ale that are happening over there.
Like,
It's just like
pulling up a barrel,
Don't have to worry
slamming
about
him
it.
down onto the top.
honestly, just keep letting him think Cheshire has it.
Okay.
Alright.
Cheshire will take care of it.
Okay.
Does Cheshire know?
No. I was the only witness.
Billy now feels the burden.
And strangely, Minka, you feel a little less guilty. You've shared that burden. Share the load. You're like, wait, is this what teamwork feels like?
Alright. I have in my possession 2 gold pieces.
I'm actually
They
pretty
are
sure you
yours.
don't, because I think I took them from you.
I have 2.
You definitely have 2 gold pieces, yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I will give you these 2 gold pieces in exchange for my flute back. And on top of that,
Well, I
I
will
will-
take your 2 gold pieces.
well, you will take them after you return what is rightfully mine.
Obviously, I can't do that because
I will also share the rest of the keg that Kanor has so graciously provided me.
You guys are like around the corner. There's a mass between you, the hallway, and then like a right corner, 5 feet, Cheshire and Ori.
So specifically, he said that it was for me. I am willing to share if you return. The possession
I can make you a fool, maybe.
is really not the same. You know,
No?
there's special sentimental value to certain things. And it's hard to replace something like that, you know.
Well, I tell you what, you give me the good faith deposit of 2
Well,
gold
see,
pieces.
I can't really do something in good faith when you have given me no reason to have any good faith.
Minka, you hear whistling. And as you turn to look at the stairs, this is the other direction from around the corner, you hear footsteps and the whistling sounds so familiar, and then you see the dwarf begin to like make his way down. Great spirits is he, clearly, as he is no longer haunted or plagued by things. He sees you kind of like cowering in the corner, and he goes, "Hey, thank you for that spell before. I feel great."
I'm glad. I'm so glad it worked.
I don't think I'll ever be haunted again. And he goes back over and he like passes by you and he sees the two of you by the kegs and he says, celebrating tonight. Give me one too. And he like passes a mug over.
It's always good, and more company the merrier. Well, I have a question for you. If someone were to have something of sentimental value,
Okay.
you're familiar.
Very familiar with the
seem to
concept.
be a very sentimental person, from what I've gathered.
I have a big heart, I'm told.
Yes, I can feel it. You know.
Yeah.
My friend here has something that is of deep sentimental value to me, and is refusing to give it back despite my offering of literally all of my gold.
Is it a kidney?
It is not. That's kind of a strange thing to have sentimental value towards, but I like where your head's at.
I'm attached.
Sentimental value to.
That's more
Every
of a-
single bit inside of me, I have sentimental value.
Right, but that's more of like a kind of a vital organ. It's less
That's
vital
why I
than-
care about it so much.
Right, but I feel like that's more on a level of
You have two?
that goes
Really?
beyond
Minor illusion can cost out, right?
sentimental value.
I don't think so, but let me double check.
Greater, like the second level of illusion.
Oh, please. I have a spell card that says things.
Spell cards.
Spell cards!
But anyways, he look and see. But he's
sound, you can't create a sound.
holding on to this mug now, and he seems pretty happy. But he's going to say, maybe there's a compromise you could make.
Well, see, that's what I'm trying to get at. Is I've compromised by saying, here is literally everything of value on my person. that
Does
I can
Billy
willingly
know
part
that
with.
Jimin's had... Billy knows that Jimin's had the flute. Billy's gonna round the corner.
Okay.
But what this lovely individual fails to understand is that I do not, in fact, have this.
Hey,
item.
Jimin.
But you've said that before, and you do have it.
Yeah.
And so
How's
it's...
that flute working out for you?
I don't need a flute.
Wait, what?
A flute to keep the spirits away, but I don't need one on account of the blue one. She put a spell on me, so I don't need them anymore. The spirits gone. Never going to bother Jimmins again.
Billy's like snuck back around the corner and just
Chester's
like,
sneaking.
Minka just bolts.
You hear on the stairs, and you actually turn and see like the gauzy blue fabric tear up the stairs, and he just goes, "Bye, Minka," and he goes and says, "You guys are good folk. I appreciate having you aboard."
So... Backtrack for a minute. Hold on. Give me...
That was Minka. You came with her.
Back to the part about the flute.
Billy's like
Yeah, I saw the flute. I don't have a
slinking
flute
into the
anymore.
shadows.
Don't have a
Disguise
flute
self.
anymore.
Yeah.
What? At what point in time did you have a flute?
He thinks and he goes, I think right before I threw it out the window, and then right after it was given to me to keep the spirits away.
Who gave you that flute?
He looks at you. Hang on. He just goes, "Oh, the pink one." He has no ability to read your tone right now. He's having a great day, and so he's just like conversational. You look so mad, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, the pink one."
God, Chutcher's not there.
You look around, for some reason, it's you and Jimmins. And then, like, walking downstairs, like, really sweaty. The only person who's been, like, working all day, you haven't heard from him, is, like, a little gnome who's, like, exhausted looking. And he's
There's
just
a
like, "Hey,
second
guys."
gnome with him, just like sweeping the floor and looking very suspicious. Like, he's a little taller than usual. Like,
I am actively searching for Cheshire. I'm looking around. I'm like, it's not a very big ship. I know you're somewhere.
Oh, wow, this is a bad time. The gnome turns and, like, goes back upstairs.
other gnome like,
Natural 20 for stealth.
I'm finding hidden creatures and objects on you.
Roll a natural 20.
It's like, it's still pretty good, but it's not a natural 20. It's 20.
for a total of 28.
Yeah, 23.
Unfortunately, you spend some time and do not find your companion.
Oh shit.
Minka!
I think Mika's like hiding amongst like the boxes underneath, just like straight up curled into a corner, shoving herself as far away as she can. Just like
There's a point where you actually hear. Yeah.
Fear.
Oh, we're getting there. So, Minka, there's a point where you're hiding amongst the barrels, and then you just hear the dwarf going, Minka, somebody needs your help. And then you could just, there's a point where you actually see the dwarf goes, I'll find her, don't worry, she'll help you out. She'll find your flute.
I hope she does, because it's in the ocean right now, based on what you've told me.
He turns and he goes, I'm sure it's a different flute.
It's a
And he
very
goes-
particular one.
He's like calling for you. You continue to stay pretty hidden. The ocean, you do notice, Minka, as you stay crouched amongst the barrels begin to kind of like rock against each other. You feel the tap, and it does get a little. Could you roll a d100, please, Minka? It's just fun that you do.
a 64.
Okay. And because it is 8:50, this is where we're going to step away for a quick break, and we'll be back at 9:01 to see what that brings.
64.
However, before we step away, is there anything that you all want to do? Assuming that you are like looking for Cheshire for most of the
I'm
night.
looking for Cheshire or Minka.
No worries.
And trying to get some explanation.
So likely, most of you are marking off a long rest, and we'll pick up on the second day. But we'll be back at 9:01. We'll see you then. and howdy, folks. Welcome back. Thank you. The new song is amazing, Gunnar. We can pick right back up. One by one, you all fall asleep. Some of you in more comfortable places than others. Minka, it's hard for you to get out, and after a while, you just kind of fall asleep amongst the crates and boxes full of like bits of fabric and things like that. You find a place eventually where you like pull a sheet over yourself, and no problem. Everybody make perception checks at disadvantage.
Do I
please.
find them at any point?
Certainly not.
I'm setting up the dinghy. I gotta go get it.
Okay.
I gotta go
Sure.
find it.
We'll get back to that in a second.
Oh no.
I'm preparing to set out at dawn,
No problem.
figuring out how far back I need to go.
12.
Okay.
8.
Okay.
14.
Okay.
Oh, perception
Yeah.
At disadvantage.
at disadvantage.
Not you. You can make it just flat.
Cool.
If you're going to be setting up your...
a 23.
A 23? Okay. You begin to set up the dinghy, and there are people aboard, and so, you know, there are a few folks who definitely, it catches their eye, and after, like, he looks over a few times, Kanor does come over. It's, like, probably 5 in the morning. You're getting ready, like, first thing at dawn, go out, and he's just like, what are you doing?
I just gotta go back for a bit. It's just a thing.
We're in the middle of the ocean.
Right.
You can't just go back to Hopewell.
No, not just about how far do you think we've traveled within the last 5 to 6 hours?
Probably somewhere on the magnitude of 30 nautical miles. Where are you trying to reach?
There's something that fell overboard at a certain point in time, and I really need it back.
I don't really know how to tell you this, friend, but it's gone.
Right, and I'm going to make it not gone by going and finding it.
You see this, and he kind of like waves his hand over the ocean.
I do.
Any amount of land that you've seen in Everest
Right,
pales in comparison to what's down there.
right. I know it's a tall.
You've heard the expression, needle in a haystack?
So this is what I was gonna ask for. If you had any more of those potions, I'm gonna be down there for a bit. I would imagine.
Yeah, we're not going to give you this is not something that you can do.
Can or
Can.
I think I can.
No.
It's just it's tall order. I know.
I think it's a bad idea.
Right.
I think you will die and also waste our boat. If you want to go swimming, you could just jump overboard, but, and I would prefer you not do that, you seem like a nice guy, please don't ruin our boat. You look over the side, you're like looking at the boat, and the water kind of like laps up on the edge, and that's weird because there's about an 8-foot drop to the water. And then you recognize it's not all of the water. And Ori, you can go ahead and roll for initiative, as the tense nature of this boat has certainly brought about a reaction. I'll be right back. Okay, clear that out.
It's okay. Why would we want to do that?
Because we're gonna get a ship and some monster that's attacking it.
Do we want
We'll need the
to
water.
need the water?
Yeah, that's why I put the water out, just in case we had this happen. Although, we've learned with Alina gone, it's almost certain to happen. All right. Yeah, oh yeah, sorry. I'm gonna pop yourself over right in front of that thing that you see emerging.
Right here. Oh,
Right there. And over the side where this kind of little dinghy was clumping against the side, the water lapped at its edge, kind of strange, and then the water. And Kanor is just saying, look, this not going to happen. No, I know it's important to you, but
not
you will die if you go down there. And you can see it's like now humanoid and over him. What did you roll for initiative?
14.
Fantastic. Okay. Give me just 1 second here. I'm going to bring up some more appropriate music. All right. So,
There we go. Good call.
Ori, you are going first for what it is worth.
Holy shit. Okay. That's good.
And then Kenor is following you, along with any other crew members who are on deck and acting. And then this creature is going at the end. At initiative order 20, everybody will be able to make a perception check. And the DC to wake up at this point, kind of noticing what's happening, will be dependent on what's happening above board. Ori, at this moment, as you're saying, like, oh, behind you, this humanoid form of water squirms from beneath this boat and just becomes a physical, corporeal being. Just swirling water. You can see elements of like seaweed and kelp and things like that. And it looms over Kanor. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna use my insightful fighting on it as a bonus action.
Okay.
So it's insight against its deception.
Okay. Let me find a good battle music here.
It's gonna be close.
What is this?
I don't know how deceptive a water
Pirating
elemental
music.
type thing would be.
This is definitely appropriate for fighting.
No, I'm definitely not. SpongeBob! Oh no! I mean, like, realistically, pretty terrifying. Okay. Ori, what would you like to do?
So does my insight of a 14 beat its deception?
Almost certainly, yeah. That's gonna be a 7.
All right, so now I can make sneak attacks on it for the next. Not having advantage for the next minute, I think. I think it's a minute, but yeah. And then I'm gonna. Can I try to? It's water. I can't try to push it off, but I'm gonna try to. I guess. Can I try to like encase it with my cloak and like you know, like kind of bailing water almost it off?
So as an action, you are trying to like bundle it into your cloak?
To like, yeah, to throw it off like a bale of water.
I would say that's grappling, and you could try.
Cool. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Is that athletics contested?
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely caught. That's caught. Hey, okay. 21.
Okay. You certainly beat it. And you take your coat, you whip it around, and your arms go straight through this creature. It's made of water, and you would imagine immune to being grappled.
Cool. Okay.
You like draw back. You're now a little bit wetter, and the creature seems relatively unfazed.
And I am going to fucking. That's it.
There you go. Fantastic. We love to see that. That brings us to the crew. So Kanor like ducks.
Oh, free action. Like, trouble.
And so he turns around and like ducks as this thing reaches out. It swings. You're able to duck underneath it, and he slides to the side. He does not have a weapon on him. So in this moment of panic, he's going to throw out an unarmed strike. That is going to be a 13 to hit, which I believe is a miss. And so you watch as Kanor punches the water. Splash. Just like you. Not a whole lot of effect. He's going to move 10 feet further back, which will provoke an attack of opportunity. As he backs up, that is cocked. That is also cocked and a natural 20. And that is only the 13. So, actually, I think that does hit Kanor.
Oh, no.
So you watch Ori as you are able to dodge out of the first attack, but the second one hits Kanor kind of hard. Actually, really kind of hard. And you watch as he stumbles forward. The water hits him, and then you can see areas where it freezes and enters his body as these little points and spikes, and then the water splashes across him, and you see these begin to melt away, leaving blood that trickles down and joins the water.
Ouch.
That is Kanor. The other ones who are on deck, I believe there's 3 on deck aside from Kanor?
Yes.
Okay. If you could move them towards so he is going to go down below The one in straight pants. So take them off the board for now. None of them have weapons, and so yeah, first order of business is to get armed.
Cool.
So he vanishes down. There's one other pirate, I believe, right near one other person right near you. Yeah, if you could put them a little bit back towards the wheel, they're gonna go and take responsibility of the ship. And then I believe, is there one more?
Yes. The
Okay.
one at the wheel.
The one at the wheel? Oh, I didn't realize he was at the wheel. Never mind. The other one also heading down towards the below deck. Yeah.
This one.
No
that was
problem.
Down here.
Mhm.
So the one that at the wheel stays.
Yes, exactly. I didn't realize there was one at the wheel. That is what the crew does. You can see them like running for weapons. Kanor tries to punch the water and then takes a couple steps back. That is the crew's turn. That brings us to this elemental. So this creature swirls around, and as Kanor was the last person to attack it, initiates 2 slam attacks against it. The first one is a 14, which hits.
Oh, is he out of range?
no.
Because he moved like 10 feet away.
Oh, you know what? This is one of the... Yeah. So 5 feet. Then it's going to move 5 feet to catch up with it. I believe it can stay in your melee range to do that. But even if it can't, it's going to follow just because that's what it's going to do.
Okay, I think it moves 10 feet to get to Kanor because he moved 10 feet, right?
Well,
So
yeah, but
Kanor is...
it's going to go.
Kanor is
It's going to
10
move
feet
between
away
the two
from
of
me.
you. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So it does provoke an attack of opportunity if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna... Oh, well, I don't have any weapons out right now.
You don't.
So...
And you watch as you're like thinking about that. These two
I just
fists
saw him
rise
arm
up
strike
and
and miss, so...
freeze into ice and then slam down into Kanor. He does take 2 more hits, and I believe he is going to be down. Certainly. And you watch as Kanor drops unconscious on the deck. Just slammed in. Elements of the wood crack, and this definitely lowers the DC for everybody else to wake up. But that is the elemental's turn. That brings us to initiative order 20. Everybody who is not Ori, please make a perception check.
Still a disadvantage?
You can make this flat.
6.
Minka, it was a tough day, and so it was tough for you to fall asleep. You're really asleep now.
Dirty 20.
7. Cheshire, you wake up and you hear somebody yell and you're like, you fall back asleep. Billy, you start awake. And there was a part of you, just having these like dreams already where you wake up and you can hear shouting, you hear thump, 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 and you hear somebody says, get the swords, and like people begin to wake up. And there's chaos happening. Go ahead and roll initiative.
19.
19. Billy, what do you want to do? Or you're on deck.
Oh god. Billy's just woken up, most likely below decks. Billy wants to get above decks.
No problem.
How
So to
far
get
does
from
Billy
where
go?
you are 30 feet to pop out of the door.
Okay. Billy pops out of the door.
Okay. They hit the door. There is wind, there is water, but it is not raining. You see the swirling vortex of water as it pounds Kanor into the deck, unconscious.
Billy sees the water elemental and is going to pass Hex,
Okay.
followed by an Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Actually.
If you could put this hunter's mark over there.
Oh,
for now.
it's Hex, not Hexblade's Curse.
The spell.
The spell.
Do you have the purple one over there?
Yes, there's a small pile.
Is Sade
She's in the
still
captain's
in the
quarters,
captain's
yeah.
quarters?
I have a little.
There you go, ready to go.
Is that just shade within?
No.
It's a diggy.
What's my number? 17.
A 17. That's for Eldritch Blast? That definitely hits, yeah. This is a pretty large creature, though it is medium sized. As it swirls and moves, it encompasses a large space, so easy enough to hit.
Oh, and the Hex ability is going to be Wisdom.
Okay.
And that's 3 points of force damage and 3 points of necrotic damage.
3 points of force damage and necrotic damage. This slams into it, and you can see this of necrotic damage that flashes through the water. It seems to dissipate. It certainly does all the damage that you imagine it would. No worries. All right, anything else, Billy?
That is Billy's turn.
There we go. That is your turn, Billy. That brings us to you, Ori. What would you like to do?
So, with my insightful fighting, I'm going to now take out my swords
Okay.
and make attacks, trying to find the best places to cut water.
Insightfully, you draw your blades. Go ahead and make your attack. Yeah. If I pull these out, they'll be sharper than if they were
I
in the
think
sheet.
I would move to kind of position myself in its sight to take its attention away from the body of Kano that it's pummeling.
No problem. So it slams in, and you watch as it rises up, almost the dark clouds that are just barely becoming gray with the rising sun. You can see it's very much like the clouds onto this creature, and it becomes hexed. You've seen this before. This blast into it, and you take that moment to kind of like drive into it.
Slash it in half to catch it off guard.
Yeah, make your attack roll.
My attack.
On the table.
Oh, natural 20.
There you go. Great. We love it. Roll damage on that. Double the dice.
And it's a sneak attack.
Yes, it is. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Love to see it.
But it's probably resistant to slashing damage.
We'll see.
Okay, so let's this much. And then double. Ooh, okay. We like that. Math. More math. Little extra. So that's 14 on the dice, so 28 plus 5, 33 points of damage.
It doesn't seem to do as much damage as you would hope, given the fact that it is water, as you suspected. However, it does do damage for what it's worth. It looks like as you slash across it, it's like you're cutting into water and it just very quickly right back. But there are elements of dampness now that spatter onto the deck and do not become part of its form again. It does deal damage.
Okay. And then bonus action, I'm just going to make an offhand attack.
Yeah, go for it.
That's going to be a 17 to hit.
17 hits.
Nice. That's another 10 points of damage.
Okay, so you slash at this creature. You almost divide it in half, and it just and you backhand, just growing back. Each strike seems to do less damage than you would hope, but it still is hurting it.
And then free action, like a little help over here.
Okay, no problem. That is your free action. That brings us to Kanor. He is just unconscious on the ground. There's gonna be one success, however.
Nice.
Love that. That brings us down to the elemental. So you watch this creature swirling around. You strike at it once. You strike at it again. You go to slash it, and you watch as it seems to rise up and then disappears. And you see it just move between creaks in the board.
It's going below deck.
Right behind you.
It's coming back up.
And it slams into you. Go ahead. Actually, hang on.
It's hitting me.
Ooh. It does a 24 hit.
I think it, yeah.
And then a 17.
That also hits.
Fantastic. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw, please.
It's gonna hit me a second time. It's not gonna be good.
Play by orc.
Strength?
Yes.
I don't know why I just rolled 2, but they're both terrible, so it doesn't matter. It was a 9 or a 4, so it doesn't matter.
Phenomenal. As this creature hits you the first time, you take 9 points of bludgeoning damage right into you. And the second time, you get ready to take a tremendous amount of damage, but it reaches, and as it strikes, it just moves into your space.
Oh, I don't like that.
And you take an additional 13 points of damage as it just crushes you within it. What is your constitution score? Or modifier, sorry?
13.
So you have exactly 1 minute of oxygen. You are considered underwater. That is this creature's turn. And that brings us to initiative order 20.
And I don't have the breathing spell.
Make a perception check, please, if you are not on the initiative order.
This is possibly the worst day of my life. Maybe.
The worst day of your life so far.
So far, yeah.
You're still alive.
I natural 20 for
Oh,
a total of
yes.
23.
Phenomenal. Cheshire? 19. Both of you start awake as you hear thuds against the side of the ship, like waves rocking it. And then you hear splash, splash as two slams happen on top, a little smaller. The two of you recognize that there is certainly something happening. And so go ahead and roll for initiative. At initiative order 20.
5.
Fantastic. 5 from Minka.
I was tripping on all the garments, and I wrapped myself in. It took me a second.
You like get up and just face plant right on top of one of the shawls. Cheshire? 9. Okay. Oh, I have to like
No
rate
motivation
you.
to get up. I don't, do not want to.
Okay. So at initiative order 20, you had heard 2 big thumps, and they seemed a lot larger than the ones coming from aboard. One was coming from either side, and so on initiative order 20, you get to start combat.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Oh, I love his face. So good.
They're so big.
For a moment, Ori, it feels like the whole wave on the side of the boat rises over one side, rises over the other, and it's like the entire ocean is an elemental ready to swallow you up before these 2 jaws just become huge water elementals, rising up almost 10 feet as they swirl. And in a moment, you can see almost like these horrifying faces that like show up and then disappear. These are creatures of elemental water. And there's now 2 much larger ones.
Oh, cool.
They're going to act on the same initiative order, which is luckily relatively low. Billy, you're up first, followed by Ori, followed by the crew, followed by Cheshire, followed by Minka, and then at the very bottom, the elementals. Billy, what would you like to do?
Ah! Shit.
Say that.
Shit. Billy's gonna. Oh god. Billy's going to.
What are you doing, Billy?
Hexblade's curse the big one directly in front of her.
Okay.
And.
So not Hex. Hexblade skirts. There you go.
Yes. Both at once, because one is only one is concentration.
There you go.
And while keeping an eye on the big one, an eye on the little one,
Your eyes split.
and not Hexblade, Eldritch Blast the little one.
This wish I still have it.
That's 12.
12, unfortunately, is going to be a miss. This Eldritch Blast strikes straight into this creature who seems to almost just become incorporeal, and it just splashes out the other side, unchanged. Anything else? Billy?
Am I like in combat range for this thing? I can't see.
Hard to tell. I would say you're within 10 feet of it.
Looks
Hard to
like
tell.
You're near
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna move.
There you go.
this one.
Billy, that is your turn. Ori, you are up. The crew is on deck. What would you like to do?
Am I effectively grappled? I want to break free of this thing's
At this moment,
drowning grip.
you are grappled, in fact, yes. And so you can, as an action, attempt to break free.
Cool.
So go ahead, and this is a...
Do I get to choose between athletics or acrobatics? Or is it just athletics?
1 second here. It is a strength check.
That sucks.
You like float there, you're holding your breath, you look out, you wish somebody would reach in and pull you out, but you got to do this alone if you want to do it right now.
Not that it changes anything, but can I flavor it as taking out my rope and trying to quickly tie something heavy to it to throw it out and wrap around this to pull myself out?
I'm going to say...
Just for flavor.
So what are you trying to do to break out? Okay, make a strength check.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
One.
You're underwater, you're panicking, you take out the rope, you reach around and you tie it to the first thing that you can, and you yank, and it's tied onto your leg now. And you hold your own
really
leg,
dumb.
and this is not how you intended things to go. Anything else, Ori?
Can I bonus action
Scream.
Oh
No, actually,
Can I bonus action disengage?
at the moment you are considered, I believe, restrained. No, grappled.
I guess bonus action to make a perception check to spot a hidden creature or object.
Okay, make a perception check. What do you? Yeah.
Well,
12. There are water elementals
Water.
aboard the ship right now. You look around and there's at least 3 of them.
no extras.
Not with a 12. So that is your turn, Ori. That brings us to the crew. Kanor is going to take a save, and also at the door, you can put those other 2 crew members who arrive brandishing cutlasses. One of them is close enough that they do get an attack.
Kind of sharing your space.
It's gonna be a 10, and so a big miss. They and they see that you're inside, and they have to pull the attack away at the last second. That is the crew, unfortunately. Minka, what would you like to do? And then, oh, sorry, Cheshire, what do you want to do?
Slowly drag my feet upstairs.
Okay. The whole turn, just been kind of slogging, moving at up 30 feet, no rush. That is. Oh, sorry.
Do I get up on the deck at that point? Or
Yeah, you'd be like right at the door, maybe on the stairs.
Starting to feel like Ori's max mind.
I
Just mind.
Just
am
max mind.
going to cast Crown of Madness on the big one that's not.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a wisdom saving throw. That's fire.
That's pretty good. Well, is this cocked? No. Okay. That is going to be a 15. Or, yeah, 15.
It's a.
Okay.
Damn.
So close.
Do I see Kanor?
Yeah, you can see he's like face down on the deck. Okay. From the deck, you just hear as he like reaches up and starts like swiping at the water elemental, but he is back up. Fantastic.
6 points of damage.
6 more than he had. It's almost like a quarter of his health. No, not quite. 6 of his health. So that is the crew. That is Cheshire. Minka, what would you like to do? The elementals are next.
I would like to appear on deck. I have 35 feet of movement.
Yeah. Hey, 35 feet of movement. You can move 5 feet onto the deck if you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that to get out of because everyone is like crammed into this one space.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to move like away from the elementals with on deck.
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
So you like pop up and you see the swirling elemental. Ori's on the inside of it. You're like, nope. You go the other direction. Anything else, Minka?
Yes. Okay. So I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
One, I equipped the sickle.
Okay.
And rules, right? You can't have shield, sickle, and focus,
Correct.
right? And,
However, this sickle can serve as a spellcasting focus.
right.
Yes.
But Minka need like her staff is essentially her star map.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So I took off the shield already. Okay. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
yeah.
In the future, that might be a good downtime activity to think about how you might change that.
Yeah.
But at the moment,
At the it's not gonna happen. So I would like
it's a rare
to first. I'm going to use a spell in a different fashion than how it was intended.
Okay.
I would like to look at the eye line to the one that's an Ori is probably not great. Is he within 30 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. They're all within 30
Okay,
feet.
so the one that I see Ori inside of that one, so I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna cast Destroy Water.
Oh, God.
Okay. Love that.
I'm 70% water.
Or he just instantly dead.
I'm like
I do
a
like that as a DM.
dried
So
raisin.
you either create or destroy water. It is. You can destroy up to 10 gallons of water. Okay.
Yeah.
So 10 gallons of water. Gosh, you're gonna make me do math.
That's probably like at least 100 gallons.
So 29 gallons of water weighs roughly 100 pounds. So we're thinking roughly like. Okay. Cool. So Minka, go ahead and roll 3d10.
Okay.
This is on the one that I'm stuck in, the
Yes.
little guy.
No. I just had to fish out the other ones. That one is cuts on the top of other ones. These two are good, so we'll just go like this. Yes. Okay.
Today,
So
my day.
14.
14. Damn. So you watch as Minka like rushes up, and then seeing you barely just see like this blue figure amongst the other blue, and then you just in an instant of not really knowing what to do, cast Destroy Water, and you watch as this elemental into almost drops. Before it resumes, you're able to breathe for just a moment, like, you know, in Spider-Man where the bell gets hit and venom like all over the place and then back. That's exactly what happens, except this water elemental like sputtering pieces off. It is almost dead. That almost killed it. It could not be closer to death, quite literally. And so phenomenal. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna bonus action form of the chalice because it looks like we're gonna need it.
There you go. So you have this one thing and you're like, that's my attack. And then these stars light up at each of your joints and you take on the celestial form. Light glows out and everybody's able to see a little bit better as well. That is your turn, Minka?
Yep.
That brings us to the elementals. So, Ori, first, the one that has you is going to go ahead.
Crush me?
Sort of. Go ahead and make a strength saving throw, please.
Yeah, I probably don't even need to bother because this is going to be bad unless I get a 20. It's a 16.
16. That beats it. And so all of a sudden, as the water explodes out from this spell, this is the only moment where you actually can move your arms, you grab onto the mast and haul yourself out, and you emerge in a space next to the creature.
Yay!
It is unable to create this effect as it tries to, and that is its action. However, there are two more now. And so, Ori, as you like free yourself from one, you look up and there is a way larger one right in front of you, and you watch as it
Can't see
and then
water through
slams
water.
down into you. Ori,
Yeah, I'm down.
that's a 27 to
Yeah,
hit.
I'm down.
Reaction.
Oh.
Silvery barbs.
Okay.
Creature must re-roll the d20 and use the lower roll.
Ooh.
14.
That misses!
Damn.
Then I can
nice.
choose a different creature and give them advantage on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute. I'm going to do that for Ori.
Yeah.
So Ori, as this creature like reaches towards you to just slam down into you, all of a sudden you can see elements just freeze, like ice streaking through it. It looks almost like when you shoot a bullet through ballistics gel, like these elements traveling through, but it's just ice quickly forming into jagged points. And this creature is almost like impaled on itself, and it has to pull back, unable to strike down at you, and you are safe from this creature for now.
Because there's another one.
There is. However, it's going to approach Minka, who is glowing. And Minka, you watch as two watery appendages rise up and then slam down into you. That is going to be a 19 and a 20, or sorry, 19 and 21 to hit.
Both hit.
Nice. You are going to be taking
I feel like we
Ooh.
find ourselves in very similar situations
15 points from the first one of bludgeoning
almost
damage,
every week.
and then 13 points of bludgeoning damage from the second. This thing is large. It slams down into you once, and then again, and then you feel this alien sensation as it doesn't leave your space. Make a strength saving throw, please.
I'm non-conscious.
Oh, unfortunate. That is a failure. So, you watch as Minka is slammed into the deck, and then this water over her, and Minka like floats up. You can see her mouth open, no air in her body, and so immediately beginning to drown, probably.
I don't need to breathe.
Oh, that's true. Look at
That's
that.
lucky.
That's super handy, huh? So, you unconscious in there. I would say, though, probably most of you do not know that. And so, for what it's worth, Minka looks like she's about to drown. That is, however, all of the creatures that can go. And so, that brings us to the top of the order. Billy, what do you want to do?
Billy sees what happens to Minka, shouts, Minka! and casts Healing Word.
Okay. Minka,
The
you come to. You are considered grappled.
Yep.
and you are also drowning. You have no oxygen in your body, but you are awake for this, so you get to drown and experience it.
Nice.
But you don't
Who
need to
doesn't
breathe.
know this?
Yeah, I know.
6 points of healing to you.
6 points of healing.
take it.
Fantastic. So you like black out for a second and come to, there is pain all throughout your body, and you feel like this weird sensation moving around you, unpleasant, but you're alive.
And follows that one up with an Eldritch Blast.
There you go. Make your
Nice.
attack roll.
Natural 20!
Very nice. Yeah. Roll damage. Double the dice.
I wish that this was one of the ones that I had hexed. Because it's this one, yes?
Yeah, I think so.
Sad.
Yeah, you really had a 2/3 shot there.
Yeah, I know.
did.
You just need to figure out a way to have a third hex up. Sorcery. Triple multi-class. 15. A 15 just hits.
No. Oh, sorry. Natural 20, but 15 damage.
Ah, okay. 15 total after doubling it?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh, sorry. Do you double the amount on the dice or double the damage? Double the dice.
You double the dice. So
Yes.
sorry. If you were to roll, if it's like 1d6 plus 4, you roll the d6, you double whatever that is, and then you add the plus 4.
I take that back.
Okay.
Because Sorry.
No
One
worries.
game I play, you roll 2 dice, because more dice is better dice.
For the stream, we've just found that it's faster to do it the other way.
Makes sense. 10 instead.
10 instead. Okay,
Nope.
no worries.
Sorry, 10 doubled is 20.
Okay, there we go. We got there. 20 points of damage. You watch, it's like, and then finally it's like, look, we got to figure this out.
Fuck you!
But no problem. You see, you strike into it. The Eldritch Blast hits it, and you watch the water like and steams as it tears through and then
Force damage.
out to the other side. Yes, and it seems to do the full amount of damage.
Nice.
So, anything else, Billy?
Sadly, no.
Alrighty, Ori, what would you like to do?
So, Minka's still trapped in it?
Yes.
The one that I was trapped in is still alive.
It's like sputtering, almost dead, but yeah, still alive.
All right. Bonus action, disengaging from this one
Okay.
and trying to sort of like, you know, when you're like at the beach and you try to swim through a wave.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you dive through. I'm trying to do that to like grab Minka and like push out of the other end of this water elemental.
Absolutely. Make a strength check.
All these fucking strength.
You're
checks.
doing strength-related things.
Could be like an acrobatics.
Sounds like somebody should have been a fighter.
Advantage on this.
I have advantage?
Yes.
Oh,
because I give
yes.
you advantage.
Oh.
Technically, yeah, absolutely.
All right. That's gonna hopefully be helpful. It was pretty helpful. It went to a 15 instead of a 10. So thank you
Nice.
for that.
Considering it's DC 14, real freaking helpful. Yeah.
Helpful.
This is just a straight up rules as written
We did
water
it as
elemental.
intended.
So-
So teamwork.
Phenomenal. You,
Their dream work.
yeah. You reach in, and it takes you a moment because it's like you were just inside one of these creatures and you just almost died down beneath the water and you're being asked to go back in, but you see Minka. Minka has been really helpful to you. Minka is really probably the reason that you're still alive, truthfully.
Right.
And so you dive in, and this is the same way that you like almost try to like dive through, and it's unpleasant. You feel as if this creature resists
Like
you
going
with its
through
element,
Jell-O or
and you
something.
just barely grab onto Minka and are able to yank her out. Water like erupting out around you as well. But anything else, Ori?
That's, I guess, so if I've disengaged already,
Mhm.
that's just for the one.
Correct.
Okay, so I can't like disengage everything.
So
Fuck off.
So I want to use all 3 of my bonus actions
I would like to
disengage. each one.
disengage and continue to disengage.
Action surge, disengage. No,
Yeah, that's it for me.
yeah,
then.
no problem.
So
You
if
stand there.
going through a water elemental feels like Jello, does that mean it's a Jellemental?
Ooh, one shot idea. So that is your turn, Ori. That brings us to the crew. The 2 crew members who are up are going to rush towards the one that is nearest Kanor, who I believe is hexed, and they are going to attack that one.
That's the little one.
Ooh, natural 20. Look at that random pirate. I'm going to say, you know what? You watch, it's the dwarf. He comes back out and he's just like, the ghosts are here. And he like goes over. He has like a boarding axe and he slams into this creature. Axe. Okay.
Good job, Jim.
Not bad. Deals 15 points of damage, although
It
halved.
had one, right?
Huh?
It had one, right?
Not that one. He's going after the one that's getting Kanor, the one that's hexed.
Oh, I thought this was the.
No, they're definitely going to try to do whoever is kind of the closest to Kanor. That one had you. And so they're going to strike that one. The other one misses, unfortunately. But the larger elemental now beginning to sputter a little bit. It's not badly hurt, but it's starting to show a little bit of wear. That is the crew. That brings us to Minka. Minka, what do you want to do? Or sorry, I keep messing this up because you rolled just above. Yeah, Cheshire, what do you want to do?
Can I reach Minka from the doorway where I am? Up the window?
I think you're 5 feet out of range.
If you're actually
Like in the
here,
door, yeah.
then you would be diagonally within 5 feet.
That's fine. Slide step over,
There you go.
using the panpipes protection from evil and good on Minka.
Very nice. So all of a sudden, there is this like burst of music, and you see every single one of these creatures kind of ripple a little bit. And as you play this and you cast this spell, you hear over the din of battle, I know that! And you feel this spell take effect.
And then using the rest of my movement to back up as far back as I can
There you go, no problem. Okay, that is your turn, Cheshire. That brings us to Minka. I rewrote my initiative order.
Yay. Okay. So, let's see. I'm just actually like fully reading this so I know what is happening to me. Okay, so makes it like every single time recast Chalice form.
You start shedding light again.
And then I'm gonna cast a spell on. The thing I was gonna use is also a bonus action, so I'm now scrolling to do Cure Wounds.
Okay.
And I'm gonna grab Ori and assume that he has probably been injured.
That's a fair
That was a good assumption.
You grab Ori.
I'm like,
and
are you okay?
Cure Wounds.
no problem. Yeah, go ahead and roll that healing.
And that is my bonus action. And so I'm not gonna move because it's all chaotic and weird now, so I'm just gonna stand here because I don't think I can move back anyway.
Does the sickle thing
Yeah.
happen too?
A lot of stuff is gonna happen. Let me just like figure out some numbers here. That is max.
Math
So that
time.
is 4
Math time.
plus 4.
Big math.
So that is no, don't do it to me. 16.
Whoa, that's big math.
That's some big math there. That's
Oh, wait,
that
wait,
big
wait.
math.
Right. Hang on. It's 8 plus 4 that I give it because it's already. So it's 12.
Math cap.
You go to your actions. I'll show you the actions.
I know. I was trying to look at the motherfucker. Yeah, it's plus 4, right? Yeah, it's 12, and then the thing should give it another plus 4.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to look up, because
Ooh,
the spell
thank you, Gunnar. Thank you very much for that information.
Oh, I roll a d4. Oh, I apologize.
Ooh, very nice, yeah.
So, I mean,
Good
roll
stuff.
the d4.
Going to share with the class or just pay it.
Disengage works for your turn.
1. So 13.
13. Very nice. Or you heal 13 points. As Minka reaches out and you
Yeah, I
watch,
healed
the
16,
normal
so
kind of
minus
glow that sheds off this light seems almost brighter than it was before.
And 1 for me.
And 1 for you. Sharing is caring. Anything else, Minka?
That is all I can do.
All right. That brings us to this elementals. There is one elemental that has barely any health left, but he's still there. And so he's going to go ahead and take a shot on Kanor. 2 actually. The first one hits and the second one misses. How much did Kanor heal for?
6.
Right back down with 8 points of damage. Unfortunate. That is the smaller one. Now, the 2 big ones. The first one, who I believe is probably going to strike at you, Billy. The other one is probably going to chase after this bright shape. So, Billy, you are taking 2 strikes. Billy, that is a 10 and a 20.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Dirty 20?
Yeah. No, I get way more excited when I get to do more damage. That is going to be 14 points of bludgeoning damage as this huge creature rises up a solid ball of water that hardens into ice and slams down into you. The one that chases you, Minka, goes up. That is going to be a 25 to hit
Yeah.
and a 17 to hit.
Reaction on the first one.
Okay.
17
So
also.
barbs. That's the roll. I take the lower.
I keep
12.
12 misses.
This is a very good reaction. So the first one, it's about to slam into you, and you watch it makes this huge fist of water, and then all spikes, like this icicles that come out. And as it brings it down, you watch as these barbs of like ice emerge, almost like arrows that erupt from the creature, and it freezes, like spearing itself, and it can't quite crack down. It just becomes water again, and then reaches back and slams into you. Yeah.
Billy also has a reaction.
Oh yeah.
Hellish Rebuke on the one that hit her.
Yeah, there you go. On the one that hit you, right? Yeah, okay.
That is a death saving throw.
Pretty good. That is going to be a 15.
Or I'm giving you advantage again.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the next attack roll.
And then it still takes half damage?
That is correct. That's 14, half to seal it.
Yeah. So across this creature,
Oh, but it's also fire damage.
it's halved. It's not immune to fire damage, weirdly. But yeah,
Sure.
no problem. Okay.
Good
So,
resist.
Minka,
Yep.
you are. I didn't roll damage, did I?
Nope, not yet. So,
Only one hits here. However, it is doing a good amount of damage. That is. Yeah, just to check my math. That's 17 points of bludgeoning damage, almost max, as it slams into your chalice form. The second
and
one,
I'm
yeah,
unconscious again.
unfortunate.
I'm so glad you're. Oh,
The first one was a big
But
hit.
you also have protection, so that's should be at disadvantage.
Oh, right. Shit.
So hang on, one more. 11. So go ahead and take that damage off.
nice.
So Cheshire's
Cheshire saved my
spells
life.
just saving you one after the other. As this creature goes to
As
hit you,
intended,
it's
such
like there's
great
an
timing.
invisible field, and like these weird effects happen every time it tries. It like freezes in weird ways and like seems to stumble, and you're not really sure what's happening, but certainly there is some stuff afoot. That is all of their turns. A very, very good damage reduction. That brings us to the top of the round. Billy.
Key. Billy's gonna draw her rapier.
Okay. There you go.
Palm against it, light it up with some green flame.
Even so, as you cast Green Flame Blade, and it goes off without a hitch, blue flames, and you can see these flames very much moonlight, and you can see almost as if they catch a glint from some source nearby.
That's new. And think about it later. Strikes the one that's hexblade first.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh damn.
An 8, that's going to be a miss, unfortunately. Anything else, Billy?
We're gonna fling some bardic out towards Minka by turning around and say, "Don't you die again!"
Challenge accepted. That is your turn, Billy. That brings us to Ori.
I am going to. I have advantage already anyway
You have advantage
on the next attack.
on the next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw.
Okay, then I guess I'm gonna use my bonus action to insightful fighting the large one that I'm within 5 feet of.
Okay.
So it's deception. It's got to be a 17.
10.
Cool. Okay, so then I'm going to use my movement to go poop 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 around. Oh, I didn't do it at advantage, but I beat it anyway. But it's a 24, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So over here, which I believe gets me to be flanking
Yes.
Minka.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because Minka was actually right here based on.
Because it's a large
Getting
creature,
jumped
either of those two spaces it would be flanking.
And then making my sneak attack,
Yeah,
which is at advantage. now?
absolutely.
Okay. Have to figure out how to get the advantage for the attack too. Cool. That's a 19 plus 7.
Yeah, that hits. Absolutely, that hits.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Stab.
I'm gonna stab you. Stab in the water.
Yeah, stab this water. Cast lightning bolt in the darkness.
Okay. That's
It's like a middle schooler, like edge lord superhero.
that's 20 points of slashies.
20 points of slashing damage halved to 10.
And that's bonus action, movement. I am done.
Though that strike does land home, you can't help but feel like you're just cutting through water. It like just shuts right away.
I don't have fancy spells, Joe.
I know, yeah, it's tough. That is your turn, Ori. That brings us to Kanor and the rest of the crew. The 2 crew members who are up, like watch like Kanor get up, get slammed back down. They are going to attack the one that is hexed.
Hex, like the green hex?
Green hexed, yeah.
Okay.
That's going to be a natural 1 for the first. We'll get back to that. And that is going to be a 17 for the second, which is a hit. So that dwarf, you can see, takes this axe and just sinks it through the water. Again, dealing less damage than he would like it to, but every bit counts. That is the... Could you move one of the crew a little bit closer to the other water elemental if it can without... Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it can. It's
Okay.
just the...
It's going over to try to help Kanor. That is the crew. That brings us
No one
to
killed the small
Cheshire.
one?
Trying.
Nobody has, yeah.
Trying.
Cheshire, what do you want to do?
There's what I want to do, and then there's what's smart to do.
Yeah.
Unsettling words against the big one.
Yeah. That is
Only
a...
a -2 to its next.
Does it get a save against that?
It might.
I thought it did. I thought it's a wisdom
I
save.
think it's a wisdom save.
That's a natural 20, so if it gets a save, it's doing great. Natural 20 for 20.
20?
Yeah.
That's fine.
What?
I'm waiting to see if you get a saving throw.
Oh, yeah. I guess that does matter.
As a bonus action, I can expend one use of my bardic inspiration and choose one creature AC within 60 feet. There's no saving.
Ah, damn it.
The creature must subtract the number rolled from the next saving throw it makes before the start of my next turn.
Okay, so it's 3?
2, it's 2.
2, okay. No problem.
And then, is this vaguely humanoid shaped?
I mean, at the moment, as it's been using these 2 appendages, you could make that argument. There is no real way for you to tell in this like heat of the moment if there is something keyed to the humanoid keyword. Hard to tell if that would matter.
Crown of Madness.
Okay.
Wisdom save.
Oh, that's pretty good. That is a 15.
Is that -2?
No, so 13.
That is going to fail.
Okay.
Nice.
And so this spell, what effect is it?
It is charmed.
Charmed? Okay, it's not proof of charm. Does it need to be a humanoid?
One humanoid.
This is not a humanoid, you imagine, as your spell does not take effect. But knowledge is power.
Exactly.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Alrighty. This creature bubbles angrily away. That is your turn, Cheshire. Minka, what would you like to do? There are these creatures all around you.
Yes, there is. Okay, one
We're flanking.
questione.
Yeah.
So, the sickle, it gives a bonus to, the saving throw.
+1 to attack and damage rolls made with it.
And the
And you gain a
saving throw
bonus to
associated.
spell attack rolls and saving throw DCs of your druid and ranger spells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
+1.
Yes. So by default it's 14. I was just trying to like look in here to see if it was automatically added. And
Gotcha.
I don't think it is. So I just want to like make sure I'm looking at the right numbers. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm going to cast Healing Spirits on the floor.
Phenomenal.
Right in between Billy and actually like pretty much right next to Billy. Just throw a healing spirit down there.
Here. Put that around the base of whoever it's on.
Yeah.
And so you can see this water dryad-like form just kind of like separate from the horrifying water creatures.
So
much water!
when that enters your space, it does 1d6 worth of healing,
Nice.
and then plus the 1d4 from the sickle. Because it's whenever.
It's when you cast a spell that
That
restores
restores
hit points.
Yep,
So you can do it, I believe.
this first time.
Yes.
And
then
that's it.
because, yeah, because it's when you cast it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so the same thing with the chalice.
Yep.
Right. So as a grand total of 6 points back to you, Billy.
Nice.
And then I'm also going to heal myself if I'm selfish.
This healing bonus has already proved very helpful to you guys.
Yeah, we need healing.
That's a wonderful moon sickle there.
11. Yeah. And now I have like an actual weapon in my hands.
Yes.
What?
Anything else, Minka?
I'm not going to use the weapon in my hand. Instead, I'm going to. Is the elemental in front of me, like 5 feet in front of me?
Yes.
So I can reach out. and
Yeah.
touch
Oh,
it?
yeah.
I'm going to reach out and cast Shocking Grasp.
Yeah, go ahead. That is what kind of a save?
It's a spell attack.
Okay, right.
And
At
then,
advantage because we're flanking.
yes. And then I believe that gets +1 because it's still a. Oh no, it's not a druid spell. It is a feature of my race.
Yes, and I think it's also a wizard spell, even in the.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, I just want to like go through all my fun, exciting things. I'm pretty sure that hits. 24.
24 hits, yeah.
Okay, and then so it's 1d8 worth of lightning damage.
Nice.
Lightning bolt. Roll a 1. Lightning bolt.
So 1 point of damage?
1 point of damage.
Phenomenal. You know what? Every bit counts. We keep saying it, and it's still true. And technically, because you can't round down from 1, it does the full amount of damage. So, hey.
Check it out.
Okay, and then I'm just gonna run away. I'm just
Also,
gonna run back out of
thunder
range.
is effective against
And it's just a
water,
little too slow to
so-
grab you now. But that is your turn, Minka.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So,
I'm going to move Minka 5 feet out. Or however far you
yeah,
want to
I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
away.
Probably a good idea.
Away. I will
Maybe you
take
can
the
go
risk.
35 feet, yeah.
Take your coconuts and leave.
Yeah.
So you run out of range. That is your turn, Minka. That does bring us to the
You
elementals.
could get to the end.
Are you still glowing in blue?
Yeah, that doesn't stop. That is just a constant issue.
So the one that is nearest you, or you watch, is it right down beneath the deck, disappearing into liquid.
So I can't make an attack.
You
of
do get an attack of opportunity against it. It doesn't change that, I don't believe.
I just bring the death to Cheshire, apparently.
And
And the person running the ship.
it is going to just, Minka, as you reach the top and you like stop running, it just reappears pouring out from underneath the deck.
21.
21, that does hit.
Does it count as a sneak attack?
Have you already used sneak attack this round?
Yeah, because I had gone right. Yeah, because this is still there. at
so
the
not a
bottom,
sneak
yeah,
attack.
So not a sneak attack. Okay. Regular attack 4.
Regular attack.
That's still 8 damage.
Hey, that's pretty good. Seems like it doesn't do quite the full amount, but still important.
A little bit counts.
Right in front of you, Minka, and you watch it raises these hands up and slams them down.
Yeah, it's disadvantage.
Fair enough. That is still going to be, I believe, a 24 to hit for 1.
Rip.
And wow, so I rolled a 17 and 18 for the first one, and then a 3 and a 5 for the next one. So 1 hit,
Silvery bar
1
from the
miss.
first one.
There you go. What was it?
Silver, you re-roll the d20 and take the lower.
18.
That's
Still doing damage. Love it.
Let's.
still pretty good.
That is going to be 14 points of bludgeoning damage as it slams one of these fists down into you, and even as the ice crackles up, it almost impales its own arm to get down to you and slam.
Concentration check.
The
I
water
feel like a recurring
reemerges.
theme is that Minka gets downed multiple times.
It's like she's a glowing, bright celestial object on the battlefield or something. The one with one hit point is going to swing at one of the crew members. That is a natural one, and it loses its second attack. The other big one is going to take 2 strikes at you, Billy. First one is going to be a 19 to hit.
Yep.
Second one is going to be higher than that.
Sweet.
Billy, you are taking, min damage, 6 points of damage from the first, and 8 points of damage from the other, getting extremely lucky.
Hex drops from this.
Unfortunate. And you could go ahead and make a strength saving throw, please.
So it's 6 and 8 points of damage.
Yes. You got very lucky on damage.
You're very lucky.
It's an 8 for a strength saving throw.
It just overwhelms you, and as it strikes and you like try to stretch out, you try to stretch a different way, you are underwater. And as you open your eyes, you see this water face before it into bubbles, and you see the creature lunge with you still inside it. That is, however, all of the water elementals, which brings us to the top of the order. Billy, you are inside a water elemental. You are grappled. What would you like to do?
So, question.
Grappled.
Since concentration was maintained, is the healing creature still?
Yeah, oh, very much so, yeah.
Okay.
But I believe it's not. Is it when you start your turn in that space, or is it on your turn?
When you start your turn in
Oh,
that
great.
space,
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
yes. So,
Absolutely.
Nice.
so when it first enters the space, and when you start your turn in that space, so it's a total of 4 healing.
You give this to Billy. Grappled.
Does grappled preclude you from zooming?
So being
so. It's
grappled
restrained.
means that your speed becomes 0. You can't benefit from any bonus to your speed.
I think that's the difference between
It's
restrained
got the
and
grapple
grappled.
condition card. It just doesn't say
Yeah.
anything about.
No. No,
You can still attack, so I would assume.
you would need to be like incapacitated, paralyzed, something. You're grappled, but because you can attack and use your
always
hands, I would
think of
imagine
it
you can.
as like grappling is someone grabbing you like this
just
around the
can't get away.
waist,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
restraining
yeah.
is like being bound up by
Yeah.
like a
That's a good way of
straitjacket or
thinking about it.
something.
Yeah,
Will I get advantage because I'm Eldritch blasting this thing from inside itself?
I would say yeah. It's hard to miss when you are in a creature.
You really don't have to aim, just not at
It's just
yourself.
like anywhere that's not me.
Yeah.
That's a 19 to hit.
Billy, you're like, oh no. You point away and this blast. Yeah, roll damage.
That was a close one.
That's 4 points of force
Seems
damage
wrong.
and 2 points of. What kind of damage is it? It just says +2 bonus to damage rolls.
Okay, no problem. So we'll say just force. It seems to do some of it the same amount of damage that you'd imagine. However, anything else, Billy?
Is it an action to try and escape the grapple?
It is.
Cool. I'm going to.
Anything else, Billy?
Warlock spell slots left. Bonus action, healing word on myself.
There you go. Underwater. That is your turn. That brings us to Ori. Ori, what do you want to do? You find yourself suddenly free from water. None immediately around you, though plenty over to your right, plenty in front of you.
I'm gonna charge towards the one that just like disappeared and reappeared up here.
Yeah, threatening Minka.
So I guess I'm like at the top of the stairs, but
Yeah.
there. And flanking it, I am
Yeah.
going to attack it.
Make your attack rolls.
Stibbity stab.
23.
Yeah, that hits.
And that's a sneaky.
It is indeed.
And then bonus action, I'm gonna make an offhand attack. That's pretty good. This math plus math, 18 points of damage.
Yeah, that's great. And it's what, slashing?
Yeah.
Okay, so it seems to do only about half that.
And then second attack with the offhand, that's going to be a 19 to hit.
19 hits.
And that's going to be a normal attack for another 9 points halved.
Seems to do only about half, but no problem. For what it's worth, this creature also beginning to like sputter a little bit, and there are times where as it swirls, there are interruptions in the water. It's beginning to look kind of hurt.
Just still hacking away, but that's it for me.
No problem. That is your turn, Ori. That brings us to the crew. The one that is nearest Kanor is going to try to, using their action, make a strength check to yank them out and bring them below deck. You watch as they reach down. They like, this is the dwarf. He drops his axe and he just goes, "I've got you, buddy!" And he grabs his hand and just hauls him out. And you watch as the dwarf, in one slick motion, yanks him out, loses his balance, and tumble down the stairs. Kanor on top of him, unconscious. That is his turn. The other one up at the, they're near the mast, right? He's going to attack the small one.
Yeah, so this guy's down. And Kanor is down.
That is going to be a hit. And so you watch as finally this crew member slashes forwards and that sputtering, horribly wounded water elemental onto the deck, just water.
Nice.
That is the crew's turn. That brings us to Cheshire. What do you want to do?
On a scale from 1 to however much you got me go, how bloody are you looking?
About halfway there and living on a prayer.
Cool. Pipes going, casting Cure Wounds.
Okay. You play the pipe, and as you do, this creature roiling around you right in front of you, again, ripples and shakes. Again, music very much affecting these creatures. How much healing?
That is 11.
11.
Han Bon Hovi would be proud.
And using the same kind of action to give you inspiration as well.
Very nice. Love a good inspiration.
And then am I in direct contact with this creature?
No, right now I think you're 10 feet away technically.
Cool. Running this way.
There you go. So you're just like, oh, it's like it appears out and it's about to hit Minka. You're like, oh, sorry, Minka. No
That's
problem.
all I can for you.
Anything else? Anything else, Cheshire?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Minka, you watch as Cheshire's just like, good luck, and just takes off. And you feel a little better with the good luck, but what do you want to do?
I'm gonna do some stuff. So I'm gonna look at this thing in front of me, and I can cast a ranged spell to another creature, even though I'm being threatened by a creature, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There are creatures that exist who that does provoke an attack of opportunity for. Be warned.
Yeah.
You don't know if these are them.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But Billy is still drowning, so I'm going to attempt to undrown Billy
Yeah.
via
Billy's
guiding
favorite
bolt.
state. Are you guiding bolting Billy?
I'm guiding bolting the creature
Oh,
that is
okay.
trying to drown her.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
Yeah, that's for the love. Please don't go out and go.
Yeah, that would not be good. Okay, so I also need to check what spell this is from, because guiding bolt is not traditionally a druid spell.
So you get it from your circle.
I do, but I think it's technically a cleric spell.
It's 4d6, I believe.
It's more of
It
like
is
this-
considered a druid spell, I
Because it's
believe, because
still-
it's yeah. I think it's still part of your druid spell list. So you have to double check. But
Yeah.
generally speaking, when you get something from your class, it is usually considered your class, like a
Yeah.
spell of your class.
Okay, so that is 18 to hit.
Okay, 18 hits.
Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That is 10 points of radiant damage.
Very nice.
And
And
then
that seems to do the full amount of damage.
Hey.
dope. And then I'm going to use my bonus action to healing word Kamor.
Okay. So from the bottom of the stairs, you just hear as he like starts awake on top of the dwarf, who's just like, buddy, and like you can hear them like untangling themselves and trying to haul themselves back to the battlefield.
And then I think Ori's the only one within range. Cheshire hasn't been hit yet. So Ori, you get 11 back.
Yeah.
Kanor gets
I'm full, thanks.
2.
No more from you, thanks. Couldn't need another
back.
HP.
Kanor gets 8 back.
Very nice.
And that is all my stuff. And I'm realizing if I run further away, it's gonna follow me, and that's really close to the edge of the ship. So I'm gonna stand right here.
Probably some wisdom there. That is your turn, Minka.
Yep.
That does bring us to these elemental creatures. So there are 2 left. There is the one that is down, kind of fighting with you, Billy, and that one's gonna strike you.
I mean, I'm still in it.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Actually, go ahead and make a strength saving throw.
Oh
for me,
no,
please.
don't get crushed. That wasn't fun when it happened to me. Oh, that's not gonna be fun when it happens to you.
Whew.
That sounds like it's gonna be extra not fun.
Billy, this creature swirls faster and faster, and then almost as if a boa constrictor tightening around you, you feel your bones pop slightly as it deals 21 points of bludgeoning damage as it into you. And then eases slightly. You still can't breathe. You have to just barely hold on to any oxygen that you have, but this creature's still very much grappling you. The one up by you, Minka,
I'm also there. I had hit it.
yeah, but
like-
Minka's glowing, and so unfortunately, certainly going to strike
more
Minka.
fun than.
That's why I have a shield.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one is an 18 to hit,
Yep.
and then a 19 hits for sure.
Yep.
So you are taking.
Billy from inside.
You take the worst hits.
Billy from
18
inside
points of bludgeoning
the
damage.
Is that for both?
For the first
thing
one.
sees the first strike and Silvery
And then
Barb's the
9
first
from the
strike.
second. Huh? Oh, first strike. Okay.
Okay.
Silvery Barb's the first strike.
Higher, and so unfortunately you are taking that.
Yeah. And then disadvantage because of the protection. And Chester's still awake, so it's still up.
Even higher than that. And so, yeah,
So
unfortunate.
for that second hit as well.
I mean, that would have been for the second hit. I guess that's still higher, but
Did you disadvantage on both of them?
no, for the second one. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The exact same amount. And so,
All right.
yeah, fantastic.
I'm
Love it.
unconscious again.
Unfortunate. And so you can see,
Everyone
like, as
tried
you
so
slam
hard.
down, like Billy reaches out, and parts of this, like you can see elements of the water elemental begin to boil and like pull away from you, but still, it almost like sacrifices its arm, grows a new one, and slams it down into you, and you are crushed into the deck. It pulls away, and you can see Minka unconscious. That is, however, their turn, and that brings us to the top of the round. Billy, from where you are, you try to keep Minka safe, but you can't. What do you want to do?
Strength check to get out.
Yeah. It's not gonna be good though, because I don't get anything to it, because I have no strength.
I know the
It's a
feels.
7.
I know the feels.
You cannot escape. As it has tightened its grip on you even more, you can't even budge.
Did you still have a potion I give you?
I do. But also in a water elemental and grappled.
Osmosis.
I feel like a water elemental more
Right?
than me.
Just
Really Billy looks out, kind of like squints out to see like who looks like they're having a bad time, and
You see your reflection for a moment, you're like, oh, I am having a bad time.
I'm having a bad time, but also I cannot inspire myself.
Yeah, you can really only see from your vantage point at this moment, Ori. And there is this
Relatively
pirate that is
speaking, I'm
back.
having an okay time.
There's just a heavy sigh with lots of bubbles. Where's your Bardic? It's my last D6.
That is your turn, Billy.
Yep.
That brings us to Ori. Ori, you feel a little inspired. What do you want to do with that?
Gonna attack this first one.
Okay.
No longer at advantage, but I still get sneak attack from
Insightful fighting.
Insightful
There
Fighting.
you go.
Yeah.
Make your attack roll. Hope that you hit.
That's going to be a 21 to hit.
That certainly hits. Roll damage on that.
And sneaky.
On the floor.
Sneaky.
So sneaky, you'll never see it again.
Sneaky. Math. Yes. 22 points of slashy slash.
And so as you see these bubbles erupt, and like Billy certainly is going to be pissed if you let Billy drown, you're like, oh, gotta do this. And you slash into this creature, and as you do, it's about to like strike Minka again. And in this moment, as it like pulls apart, you can see like the strands just holding it together. You bring your blade down and just snap. And this whole water elemental just into two separate like waves that just fade down and go over the deck. That one is down.
And then
That was great. Good amount of damage.
move to the other one and bonus action offhand slash.
Yeah. So you cut this entire thing in half and then just kind of ding.
Is
Make
it
your attack roll.
flanking because Billy's inside it?
No.
Unfortunately, I don't think Billy's doing much
Oh, but is
threatening
it
from
flanking because of the
inside.
other dude?
You are not in a position in which it's flanking. Unfortunately, I think you would need to like move through the creature to be on the other side of it.
Up there.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, and I don't think you can get there because you have to go through it.
because I was up here.
Oh, and go
So,
around
going
on the
that
top.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you certainly could. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so that is an advantage.
Good idea.
Natural 20!
Very
Wow,
nice.
it was a natural 20 and a natural 1.
It is unfortunate that it's not a sneak attack and just an
No, I
offhanded
know.
attack.
But still,
Yeah.
that's double the
But
damage.
it's not a natural 1, which would mean that Billy would be dead.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
You're very like, that will never happen again. 3 hours later.
That's offhand is double the dice, which isn't great. So that's 9 points of slashes.
And so, not a whole lot of damage there, but every bit counts. And Billy, you just see this like right in front of your eyes, this sword go by. Anything else, Ori?
That's it for me. Thanks.
Alrighty, that brings us to the crew. Kanor and the dwarf rush up to the top, and the dwarf being closest to that creature that is 10 feet wide does get an attack as he gets up there.
At advantage because we're flanking together.
Yes, that is true. He's going to roll a 2 and a 7, which is like a total of, I believe, 13, which is going to miss. So
Can I give
that
him
is
the
those two.
bardic
The one,
inspiration.
no, you can't. It's not transferable. It's a bound item.
It's an NFT.
The other one's going to attack this water elemental that Billy is in. They are going to hit, and so that is, you know what? Every bit counts. 4 have to 2, and that is the crew's turn. That brings us to Cheshire. What do you want to do, Minka? You're on deck.
Yeah, I am.
Does Bardic persist on you when you're dead? Can you use Bardic for death saving
No,
throws?
it's hard to be inspired when you're dead.
Inspired.
Soul can be inspired.
Inspired to not die.
One healing word on Minka for 6.
Very nice, Minka. Still on deck, but alive.
Yay! I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down.
The Minka story. Anything else?
That's it.
There you go. That is your turn, Cheshire. That brings us to you, Minka. You're up. What do you want to do?
Okay, I'm gonna stand up.
Half your movement.
And I go look and see that this freaking elemental is still standing, but the other one is gone. Excellent. The one that's still standing, guiding bolt.
There you go. Make your attack roll.
Oh, I don't like that.
Remember, Billy's on the inside of this one. What's that roll? Is it a natural 1?
It's a natural one.
Rough. Roll damage on that.
Oh, Billy.
Billy, you're glowing. You look radiant on the inside of this creature.
There's so much rage.
Roll damage on that. I love how
Burning rage.
every
your
person,
turn now.
every person in the party is going to kill Billy before I get a chance.
Burning,
Ball of blood!
burning rage.
This is actually volume 2.
It's really bad, Joe.
Ooh, that's really good.
It's really bad, Joe.
Oh boy.
20 damage.
Yeah, that's fine.
Not dead outright.
Yeah.
So there we go.
But you are unconscious.
I
Billy
am
goes
unconscious.
down. And from a math standpoint, unless it is a critical hit against you purposefully, Minka cannot kill you with Guiding Bolt at this level. Yet. So, that is, Minka, a tremendous amount of damage. However, as it hits and you see like steam and you're like, I got it, you look and Billy is just glowing bright and unconscious now on the inside and you're like, shit.
As Billy loses consciousness, she just like makes eye contact with Ori.
It wasn't me this time.
Definitely helped, like who definitely just like killed the other one first. It's like, yeah.
That is, anything else, Minka?
My only bonus action leveled stuff, so I can't really do any of that. That's gone. Can I bonus action try to get any of the leftover goop into a vial? Is there any leftover
So you
goop on the
watch
deck?
Billy's drowning. Scoop, scoop, scoop. Yeah, sure. Bonus action if you would like. You can
Oops,
use
I
the scoop
accidentally
something into
just
this
shot
vial.
Billy. Let me
It's
get some soggy deck.
You can't use 2 leveled.
Yeah. Anything else, Billy? Or sorry, Minka.
No.
Okay.
I'll save you.
I'm gonna die.
I will save you.
I'm gonna
Billy,
die.
you can mark off 1 death save or failure as this creature spits you up onto the deck. And with its second attack, it is going to swing at this pirate thing in front of it. That is going to be a hit.
So I'm no longer grappled, yes?
No, you are no longer grappled.
Okay.
So you watch the sailor in front that slashed across, trying to help you out, Billy. This creature turns, spits you out, and engulfs him. He is now grappled. That is the elemental's turn, however. That brings us to the top of the round. Billy, go ahead and make a death saving throw.
Oh my
You
god.
had 2 fails already? Oof, scary. That is your turn, Billy. That brings us... Oh,
I think Billy just died.
Billy's dead.
you have 3 fails?
A natural one.
Oh, very unfortunate. So, Billy, at this moment, you feel the creature roll over you, and the last thing that you can kind of see is Ori, like off in the distance, and you kind of make the last eye contact, and for you, Ori,
Oh, I'm
the
gonna get
last
so
thing that you see is just like the open eyes, and you wait for them to shut, and they don't. So, that is Billy's turn. That brings us to you, Ori. What do you want to do?
I'm trying to free Billy and slash at this thing.
There you go. Make your attack roll.
I don't have advantage on it right now, so I'm gonna use steady aim and not move.
Oh, right, yeah, right, because it's
he
grappling
got
the guy.
grappled.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a 22.
that hits.
And sneaky. We've still got a couple minutes. 14 plus 5 is 19 points of slashies.
Points halved to 9. All right, anything else?
That's bonus action, and as my bonus action, I cannot move, so that is it.
Okay. That is your turn, Ori. That brings us to the crew. This guy is going to try to break out from within. You watch as he struggles. He shouts for help, using all of his oxygen as he rolls a natural 1 and goes unconscious on the inside of this creature. Kanor and the dwarf are going to take attacks on this thing. That is a 11, which is a miss, and a 14, which means it beats it. All right. So that is the crew. That brings us to you, Cheshire. What do you want to do?
Just sleeping through.
Use some dancing lights to distract it.
Okay. These dancing lights go up. Okay.
I guess we give Minka inspiration.
All right. Minka, you have inspiration. Anything else, Cheshire?
That's it.
The lights dance. Minka, what do you want to do?
It's really like a ton. I'm just gonna move over to the side a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I see that Billy's like down.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna just cast a a second level guiding bolt on the water elemental.
Yeah, make an attack roll. Fantastic. So in this moment, as Billy like drops to the ground, eyes still open, wet, like as the water is spattering off and like falling across the ice, no reaction.
Oh no.
Was that roll?
The second natural one.
You murder this crew member on the inside. As you like fired up before, when you hit, Billy was like floating and glowing. This, you watch, there is like a burned pit on the inside that is instantly quenched, and you can see like the flesh drifting off and bits into this creature. Man, you're doing all the work
Minka's
for it.
got a really high KD right now.
Anything else, Minka? All right, with 3 kills on the night, that brings us to this elemental. It spits this guy out and then roars up the stairs at you, Ori. Or you're going to take 2 attacks. Only one of those is going to hit, I believe, because a 13 misses.
Yes.
Okay. So,
The other one was above a 16? Yeah.
you are taking 14 points of bludgeoning damage as it slams down into you. However, that is its turn. That brings us to the top of the round. Billy, you are dead. Ori, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna hack away at this thing still and hope this is a battle of attrition at this point, and I hope that my piddling slashes can do something.
After the last blow that it took, it's looking a little hurt. It's still substantial, and so it's not like falling apart, but it's looking hurt.
Steady aim. Come on, big 2 zeros. It's 22.
22 hits.
Sneaky sneak. It's 15 points of slashes.
Halved. To 7. And that is anything else, Ori?
That's it for me.
All right, that is your turn. That brings us to the crew. Both crew members who are capable of doing it, Kenor and this dwarf, are going to attack. That's 2 hits.
Good. The other one's
9 points
the
after
other
4.
one was down with that.
After these 2 guys like hack into it, you see Kenor slashes at it. He turns to like the general group and just says, "Grab her!" and like points at Billy. He slashes in. The dwarf slashes in. This creature is still up. This brings us to you, Cheshire. What do you want to do? Dancing lights. Womp, womp, womp.
Using the pipes to cast invisibility on myself.
Okay. As you play the pipes again, this creature ripples and moves, very much reacting to the music, but you're invisible.
And then I would like
Down,
to
Cheshire.
make my way back down below decks, but as I'm going, using the pipes to not necessarily lure it, but like play a song, but also kind of distract it in that way to like see if I can throw it a little bit.
Make a performance check.
Below deck. Below deck.
That is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. At this moment, as you go down, you're invisible, you begin to play the pipes, you see this creature ripple, and so thinking about that, you continue to play. And as you do, you see this creature begins to move and kind of shift, and you remember Kenor had told you that playing music can have effects very similar, and so thinking about that, you change your tune a little bit and make it a little bit more soothing. And if you continue to play this, because you are actually doing the musical component, this creature becomes quite docile quite quickly. It seems is that the rest of your turn?
That is the rest of my turn.
Okay, Minka, it is your turn, and this creature now in front of you, it seems relatively still and kind of drifts and moves. You don't see Cheshire, you hear this pipe music, and this creature seems to be reacting to it, but it is very much like, I would say it doesn't seem to be in like a combat mode. What are you doing?
I think at this point, Minka is just kind of in a very terrible place. She's gonna move forward, so the elemental is within 35 feet of her.
Yeah.
And to use her last level 2 slot to create or destroy water at level 2.
Damn. Okay. So create or destroy water at level 2 is an
destroy.
additional.
Create water.
An additional 10 gallons of water.
Okay. So,
Fight fire with fire. So
with that, Minka, tell us how it happens.
nice.
I think at this point, between like seeing Billy die, immediately annihilating another person
Uselessly
inside of
slashing
this,
away at it.
everyone is just like flailing at it. I think Minka's just gonna like silently walk forward, do the appropriate motions to destroy it, and then just like check out.
No problem. So you step forward and you cast Destroy Water even more intensely than you did before. And this entire creature ripples and turns, and it was kind of docile and moving. And then it vibrates into droplets of water that seem suspended in the air before just steam. And though Billy is currently not in the best place, I'm going to take you all out of initiative.
Well, what level of hell is she on?
She's not Gunter.
The water like across, and elements of it drip down over the sides, off the back, and kind of spill down and through. As everything kind of catches up and like Kenor and the dwarf come up, they sort of like go over and begin to inspect the corpse of their fallen comrade. Billy is also down. What are you all doing?
We're running over to Billy to see what is there anything I can do. I mean, I feel very incapable of doing most things, but is there anything that I can do in this situation?
Make a medicine check. Anybody else?
Do I still have the bardic inspiration?
No.
I should have used that before.
Probably. It does, but I think that just when the bard is dead, that inspiration kind of like goes away. Because they're like, you can do it, and you're like, yeah, we can, and then just dead.
I think Minka's going to kind of move towards Billy's corpse.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do.
And just like, she knows it's useless, but she's gonna cast Cure Wounds, and it does nothing, I'm assuming.
You cast Cure Wounds, and it does nothing.
Yeah.
And you try, your last ability really, so it's just kind of fizzling. And the dwarf kind of like steps up and like puts her hand on your shoulder and just goes, she's gone. We're going to Petrogor. You can bring her to the house of Sorrowful Rain. Maybe they can help if we can get there fast enough.
We should be moving that.
He kind of looks around like the wind, and like there's still, you guys have been sailing this whole time. It's not like you stopped to take a nap.
Sad. Okay. Pick up the body and bring it to a more respectful and discreet storage location.
Okay. You
Don't you dare put my body in a cast.
You're like, well, this is really sad. And it's weird. It's like these branches catch in your hair and look against your skin, and even dead, Billy's like kind of dragging against you. But you clear your hair from this, and you bring Billy to respectfully
I was not
store her.
the one to do it, though.
And because it is 10:30, this is where we're going to end for this evening. With a sort of dead Billy, unfortunately.
Mostly dead.
But thank you for joining us for this session
Dead is
of Courts of Everest.
a
I will
state
say,
of
it is very
mind.
fortunate that you are heading to Petrichor. We'll have to talk about what we're going to do for next week, because it seems like
You get
Billy
to
is
make a
going to be
fun
out of
character.
action.
They can die.
However, you do know that you're going to a place that is a monastery specifically dealing with grief and death, and so perhaps this is a relatively good time to die, if such a thing could be said.
That sounds like a James Bond title.
I think it is.
A good time to die.
A Good Day to Die is a James Bond movie.
Yeah. that sounds
No
right.
sponsor. So, thank you for joining us for this session of Courts of Everest. We will be back next week, most of us. However, If you are not able to join us then, you can't wait. Stick around and join us on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Mosaic Team 5, our Starfinder campaign.
We don't kill each other there.
Most of the time.
But until then, please stay safe. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.